The following program is a Nighthawk Network presentation.
Good evening, everybody. Your boy E-Buck in the building. And yes, my friends, it is time. It's time for the final episode of the I Am Nighthawk Pod Show. I am your host one last time, E-Buck, and I thank you all for joining me this evening as I say goodbye to my premiere program on my podcast network. Now, if you've been tuning in the last few weeks, you pretty much have an idea as to why I've decided to call it quits in regards to this. And I'm already getting messages to people who are viewing this show who oftentimes do not comment. This I ask for once. Make your comments known, good, bad, or otherwise, good people, because I have a lot to say this evening. Some of these things are going to be things that you did not know, things I have held in for years. Some of these things are going to be things that probably some of you will feel like, no, I should not say that. But I am going to speak my truth this evening. I'm going to thank who I need to thank. I'm going to clown who I need to clown. And I'm going to do these things because it is important that in life, when you have the opportunity to get things off your chest and speak your truth, that you are able to. And part of that, I will explain as to why I am in that mode a little bit later in the show. But before we get to that part of the show, where I basically let it rip one last time, let me address the comments. What's going on, Coach V? What up, though? Coach, notice how I'm addressing the comments. We need to work on that on our show. Yeah, right, says Coach V. Yeah, right, exactly. Stop it, says Coach V. No, I will not stop it. Hold on, good people. Let E fry. I believe that's let E cook. Yeah, that's right. Let me cook, bro. Please let me cook. I will, says Coach. Me too, says Coach. Yes. Got to work on that commentary, sir. Now, AJ Robbins, I see you are checking in. Understand, good people, the way modern technology works. Sometimes I will be able to acknowledge you just by simply seeing who is checked into the show. Sometimes some of y'all will pop in, y'all will pop out, as y'all often do, and that is fine. Let me say this one more time for the people in the back. The things that I'm addressing tonight on the show, unless you are in that small circle that is my true circle, I will not be addressing them anymore. And that includes some things with my family that I will say this evening. Speak now or forever hold your peace, because I did purposely send a link to certain people. Because of that, I will do that also as we do the first part of the show, so y'all know to tune in if you can. If you couldn't, you just couldn't. Anyway, before we go there, like I said, we are going to give you a preview of what will be airing on Sundays moving forward. The show that we are calling Two Unks Talking TV or Two Bros on the Couch, whichever you prefer. I kind of like both titles. I think we will go with both titles. To my brother Hugh, who will be doing that show with me. We'll be talking about TV and movies and things from back in the day. tonight's episode of that show, the pilot, if you will, the second pilot actually. We are going to talk about the show, The Facts of Life. So after that, we will take some commercial breaks and then let it rip. All right, y'all, here we go. What's going on, y'all? Your boy E-Buck here. Ain't that dude Hugh? Yep, it is. And guess what? No, we're not talking sports. This is our new show. What's it called, Hugh? What we call this show?
Two brothers on the couch.
Two Unks Talking TV. That's right, y'all. And we is definitely getting it in. Talking about some of y'all favorite classic old school TV shows and old school movies. Definitely looking forward to that. Now keep in mind, y'all gotta remember three things. One, I'm E-Buck, and that's Hugh. And we're about 8-9 years apart in terms of our age. So when we have some of these discussions, it's gonna be coming from a couple different perspectives sometimes. Because sometimes it'll be about shows that I watched while it was actually on TV and Hugh caught and the residuals,
Mm-hmm.
and
Caught the rerun.
syndication and whatnot. And sometimes it'll be about shows that we both caught live, but he was that age and I was that age. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And then sometimes we're gonna talk about shows that ain't quite so old. And of course, y'all horror people, you're gonna have some ones of that. I might not have much to say on some of that because I don't really do the spookies. And then there'll be some comedies he'll be like, "The hell is that? I ain't never seen that." Because I go way back in terms of TV. So, it's always gonna be a good perspective anyway it go.
Especially
Yeah,
when it comes to sorry if I cut you off.
are you good?
Welcome to Dairy. A lot of people don't know. I couldn't share it with you, but I definitely still want to educate you on a lot of that because a lot of people didn't know when I was telling them. Welcome to Dairy has different movies that it plays with too, because it actually, if you didn't know, let me educate you. Not only is it, the It movie, but it deals with Dick Halloran too from The Shining. So he has a part to it. The Shawshank Redemption Jail is on this. Actual Welcome to Derry, and there's a lot of stuff that goes on. The horror movie The Mist have something to do with it. Dark Tower. It's like, man, at least about 6, 7
And you
movies
see, my
that's
brother, you
integrated
anxious to talk
into it.
about that one. So we definitely will have a Welcome to Dairy episode. We will do that for you.
Because just like the MCU, I think a lot of people ain't know MCU kind of took their ideas from Stephen King. Because if you didn't know, Stephen King had the multiverse first.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll get into that someday.
Multiverse, it kind of play into what we're talking about today. Because our show we're going to talk about today, because we're just doing one. Usually we'll do two, y'all, but today we're just doing one. And that show is when we sit there and we take the good, we take the bad, we take them both, and there you have the show we're talking about today, which is, of course, The Facts of Life. That show right there. Now, Hugh, they started The Facts of Life in 1979. How old were you then?
I was just probably, you know what? Depends. I probably was only a couple months old, man.
See what I'm saying? So, and keep in mind, I
79.
was all of about 8.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, we gonna have that perspective today, y'all, to give y'all some idea. But that being said, Hugh, there is The Facts of Life as you know it,
Mm-hmm.
and there's The Facts of Life as I know it. Because keep in mind, before there was ever a Facts of Life show, there was an episode that led up to it. So let's talk about that one for a minute. Of course, this is a spin-off show, The Facts of Life, from the show that we know as Different Strokes, right?
Absolutely.
Keep in mind, the older sister, Kimberly, was actually going to the school that we became to know as Eastland. And in one episode, her and Mrs. Garrett went to Eastland to get us situated at the school. So that's how we first met the girls of Eastland, okay? And the crazy part is once they started doing the show, was no Kimberly.
Yeah, it wasn't like she was there for the most part. The only time I seen her on the show, and what's funny about it is, I had to refresh my memory on a few things. Is when the pilot episode, The Facts of Life, came on, and they were visiting. It was for like a harvest or something, like some type of Halloween type get together.
Yeah, Harvest Moon Party, whatever it was.
Yeah, like harvest ball or something. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it was cool too, because when I seen that, because I had to refresh in my memory too, because it was in '79 and I wasn't even really but a couple months old. Boy, I might be right or I might be wrong, but I know Sydney was the original Joe, wasn't she? Or she supposed to have been like the original
Okay,
Joe?
here's the thing: there really was no Joe at first.
Yes.
I mean, Joe was something that was. I mean, cause let's break it down. Keep in
Okay.
mind, the show did 9 seasons. And for sitcom, that's big. That's
That
real
is.
big. It may be a few handful of shows that did 9 seasons.
That was one of the
That,
records at the time too, man. Because
right now,
nobody was doing 9 seasons. You'd probably do 8 at the most,
I
six,
mean,
7 at the least.
bottom line, nowadays, if you do 5 years or more, that's what puts you in the syndication. So if you do 5 or more, you're doing good.
Mm-hmm.
But that being said, what happened was the Facts of Life. The idea for the show actually came up from the Mrs. Garrett character,
Okay.
which in real life, of course, was played by Charlotte Ray, God rest her soul.
Mm-hmm.
Who, after they did that little episode of The Facts of Life with Eastland, she came up with the idea of making that a whole show.
Oh, that's
So
pretty
after talking to
interesting.
producers and whatnot, they came up with The Facts of Life. Now, as you know, if you watch the show through all its 9 seasons, they definitely changed stuff around every few years, but no more so than the first year to that second year. Because that first year is when they had all the girls. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And talk about that for a minute, Hugh.
They had a lot of girls on there, man, like Sydney and other spinoff characters. One of them was one of my favorite 80 people, man. You know, Molly Ringwald. We talked about that before briefly. And it was cool to see her on there, man, because, you know, I didn't remember she was on there until I went back into the older episodes. And then after she had her stint on there, of course, you know, she went off and did movies like 16 Candles,
Pretty
Pretty
in
in
Pink,
Pink, and one of
right?
my favorites, The Breakfast Club, man.
Of
And it
course.
was just cool to see a lot of the older, like the girls on there, because it went, like you said, from a whole house full of girls to only like, how many was there after? Like 6, 7? It
No,
wasn't that
actually,
many.
after the first season, they went down to the four. The four
Okay.
that you must know, of course, which is Joe, Blair, Natalie, and Tootie.
Okay. Yeah, because they definitely swells it down because there was a lot of girls on there before the end of just having like the
Right.
main characters. But then it makes sense though, E, because you couldn't focus on all those people that was on the show before. There was a lot of girls. So you know, they needed to kind of break it down to the main characters that they can kind of focus on.
And I really don't think they needed to do that the way they did it. I think
Yeah,
they
because
could
the
have
girls
had.
just
I
vanished.
think about like the Big Bang Theory, for instance, how they
Uh-huh.
had, you know, they had the main cast, but as time went on, some of the side characters became main characters, and then there were
Yeah,
still
and
people
that
like
could have been
Stu
perfect,
and
man.
the guy that they worked with. It'll come to me
I
anyway.
forgot my man's name who they work with, but he was my boy though, man, and he
Yeah,
was like
the guy that stuttered. Yeah,
yeah. Dang, I forgot his name, but
yeah,
he was my
it'll come
boy.
to me.
And he had a show at one point. A lot of people have slept on it. I don't know how long it lasted, and he didn't even have a stutter on that show. You noticed that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Forgot the name
He
of
played a couple things. I remember
it.
him on an episode or two of Law and Order, if I remember right.
Man, a lot of people got their breaks from there too. We're gonna have to definitely bring that up or make that a show.
Now you know we talking Big Bang Theory at some point. But anyway,
Absolutely.
back to the facts of life. Like I said, I really liked season one the way it was, and
Yeah,
I was kind of like, okay, where the rest of the girls going season two? Now, granted,
they
once you got a few
disappeared.
episodes in, you didn't really think about them anymore.
Hmm.
But yeah, I liked it the way they had it, where you had the different perspectives. They always little rich girls, mind you,
Hmm.
for the most part. But they had differences about them that made it unique. They were all wasn't the same type of kid.
Because Sydney, the episode I saw, the season one, the pilot was, you know, she was a tomboy, and they wasn't really pressing on issues, but they did press on issues. Like Blair was trying to rattle her feathers and make her not want to be in the pageant by, you know, taking jabs at her, saying you're kind of weird, you know, you don't like the stuff that us girls like, but then you hug on girls all the time and tell them you love them, and then it had her thinking, and it was funny because I liked how Miss Gary reversed that around on her. Like, because when she had that low cut dress and my man was telling her she should have a button on it. And
Mhm.
she was like, well, we know that's how you do. And we know how you are when it comes to men. And you get men and you be around them. And it seems like you know what you're doing quite often. And she said, well, what do you mean by that?
Yeah, like I ain't like that at all.
And she was like, well, well, that's what I heard. And it was pissing her off. And then that's what she
Mhm.
had to tell her, you know, you didn't have to do that. that to Sydney, and basically made her apologize directly. But it was a cool episode though, because when she got out of her shell, she looked pretty good though.
And there's a lot of episodes like that early on. And Mrs. Garrett was definitely the focal point of the show, where
Yes.
she was kind of like the girl's conscience when it came to a lot of stuff they would do, or a lot of trouble they would get into, and what have you.
Kind of like Mr. Brady, how he used to lay down stuff and kind of give you the emotions of the details, and but it was a
Exactly.
lot of good episodes on there too, like that.
Right. And then, of course, they kind of got rid of the Mr. Bradley character, which I was fine with.
Pretty fast.
I mean, he really didn't add much to the show, honestly.
He wasn't even really the vocal point of the show. He'd just pop in every now and then,
He just irritate people, really. I mean, because clearly he was a guy that was not really want to be the principal of a women's school, and he wasn't very versed in what to say to them about a lot of stuff. And then, of course, he had his little assistant, whoever she was,
Yeah,
and they pretty much got rid of her quick too. And
making
again, them two characters really didn't add much to it, so I can see
not at all.
why they got rid of that. And of course, what really happened was, they believed in the show, but in the same token, the first year of Facts of Life, the ratings not so much.
And it was
We
crazy.
saw it come on right after Different Strokes that was doing very well in the ratings.
And what was crazy about it too, as far as the Different Strokes, what made it so cool is like that's what happened, man. And then at first I thought it was really about them going to this harvest hookup, man. For Halloween or like some type of pageant, but it was just really because Mr. Drummond had his own agenda. He didn't want her ass there. He wanted her back with him because remember he was saying how things was falling apart at the house, and that's what he was trying to do. And that was the cool part because basically on the first show, maybe I'm wrong, but it just seemed that way when Ms. Garrett was saying, I'm going to see if they can replace me first before I decide to make any moves or make any decisions. Basically, kind of saying, if Facts of Life plumbing, I can always go back to my job and stay on Different Strokes. But it didn't do that though. Even though she still featured on some of the episodes. Remember, we was talking about the one weird lady who was on there, who I wasn't really too fond of. The new maid on.
Oh, you talking about Mary Jo?
Yeah, I wasn't
Mary Jo.
too much careful.
She was all right. She was different than Miss Garrett in that. She was more personable. Miss Garrett was kind of an older person. Mary Jo was kind of closer to their age, so she could kind of relate
to more of the issues and
it fit better with her once they got older.
Okay, so yeah, that definitely made sense because Miss Garrett was older and they had more of a younger, if you could say, hip maid. So yeah, that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because I've seen some episodes just watching, man, and I'm kind of looking back to remember the episode with Tootie when it was the black guy that was on the episode and he came in there in a girls' school and it was a situation where Tootie was a good seamstress and she'll sew their dresses and do things to help them around the house. I think it was just giving a helping hand because all the girls had some type of trait or some strength that they was good at, and it helped out with the other girls. But when he seen Tootie doing that, he was like, they always come to you when they need a favor, like clothes and stuff, sold or what have you. So he looked at it like, man, the only purpose they feel like she was there or her worth was because that's all she can do in favor of those girls because, Tootie was the only black girl at the time too, with all the white girls. And so, he kind of made that play on her conscience to make it seem like, man, you only here because of what you can do, not what you give or not what you have to offer. And I remember watching that episode and I was like, man, just little things like subject matters like that they touched on. But it was good because it was things that we look at on a regular.
And it's back when television set examples and teach lessons and what have you. So there were so many episodes like that. We'll get into them in a second, but I want to talk about the chemical makeup of the show once they got to being just the four of them. I know you wondered, because keep in mind, particularly in the first couple seasons, you always seen Tootie wearing them damn roller skates. Now, come to find out, the reason why that was because without the roller skates, Tootie was considerably shorter than the rest of the girls. But in actuality, in real life, she was actually younger than most of the girls. She was about 4 to 5 years younger than everybody else. So to make it seem like she fit in the narrative of that school, they had her wear the roller skates so she would be kind of size-wise. And then, of course, part of why I think they got rid of a couple of the girls because they was like getting considerably taller than everybody else.
I
Particularly,
think
I
that's
can't think
great.
of her name, but the
But
one
they
girl,
should they
you know,
should have wanted that
Nancy,
versatility.
Nancy character, she was pretty tall.
But then, they should have wanted that type of versatility. That would have made the show what
I
it
agree.
was, because it had a versatility with the shorter girls and the taller girls, kind of like mentors almost. That would have been actually good. I think they should have went with that.
Right, and they kind of took away from it because keep in mind the circumstances that led the four of them to end up living together in the same room. That kind of took away from them living in the quote unquote dorm, where you could have the different scenes in the different spots in the rooms or whatnot.
Yeah, because I know I definitely used to enjoy it, man. Just the pop and you get the good laughs and humility. But at the same time, like you said, too, the '80s was really good at bringing things on there.
Right,
'70s, '80s, all the shows was good at teaching you or showing you a
right,
valuable
because
lesson.
a lot of those sitcoms was more dramedies if you think about it.
Pretty much, yeah,
You would have your dramatic moments, but you'd have your funny moments as well. I mean, because think about some of the episodes that, like the episode where Tootie was a model, and they had her looking like really grown up, and they were
yeah.
taking these adult-like pictures, and Miss Garrett had to step in, and be like,
Made her feel uncomfortable.
yeah. And then of course there's the episodes where one of the girls got raped or was almost raped, and they talked about that. They talked about domestic violence. One of the girls was getting beat on, and a lot of things that was going on deep during those times in the early '80s, or a
Yeah.
lot of the subject matters that they tackled.
And that's crazy too, because of the fact is, man, it was like you seen more stuff like that, man, and it was more vivid and it was more to the times of what was going on and keep you in depth with everything that was going on around you in your life, and teach you kind of valuable lessons.
I mean, thus the facts of life. I mean, when you think about the
That's
theme
the name of
song,
the show for when you thinking about it when we
right?
explaining
Think
things.
about the theme song. That part of the song, like it takes a lot to get it right. When you're
Hmm.
learning the facts of life, and we were definitely learning the facts of life because we
Yeah.
was growing up as kids while they was growing up as kids on the show.
But the '80s, man, the '70s, '80s, no theme songs hit like that. You tell me a theme song now that they have,
I,
they don't do them like that.
I'd be hard pressed to think of three shows that even have a theme song.
They don't even do it like that no more, man.
I mean, think about it. I think the last decent theme song that you would remember that was catchy was the one for the Big Bang Theory.
Definitely love that because I enjoy like some of the things like the Nerve, NASA, and stuff like that.
Right. I
That's
mean, 'cause,
why.
it's a couple decent comedies on. I mean, you think about Abbott Elementary stuff like that, but
Yeah,
they don't
there's
have no
no
theme
theme song.
song.
The
They
last
just have that
song,
little dun dun dun, and that's it.
and like you said, it's more music than it is like just themes, and it ain't
Right.
even like people singing. It's just like the scenes or the
Right. I
genuine.
mean, like I say, you remember Law and Order because they had that part of doom doom,
Yeah.
But that's what you remember. You don't remember the theme song. You just remember them sound.
But then some of the songs that was like theme songs that didn't have like people singing back in the '80s and stuff like Nighthawk, the Trapper
Mm.
John MD, and like some of those they hit
Right.
Night Rider.
Dun,
But
dun, 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 dun.
but
I mean,
most
as
of them had the
soon as
theme
you bring
song.
up the name, it pop. I mean, Dukes of Hazard. The
Oh yeah,
Incredible Hulk.
dude,
Everybody,
the sad song was so dope at the end, man. I don't know why, but he always be sad at the end. Tell me about that.
you know why? And this is how big a TV head I am. Y'all remember this part? David Banner is believed to be dead. And for now, we must let the world think that he is dead.
Oh
And he
yeah.
can control the raging spirit that dwells within him.
And that was back when they didn't use all the AI and special effects.
Exactly.
Rigno was a big dude, man, and they was just like, "Hey, we're gonna roll with that." But now everything is like AI, and they bolster up everything now, man.
Right.
That's when it was just natural, when they flow.
Right. And see, and Facts of Life was one of those rare shows that more or less kept a time slot. I think
Yeah,
a lot of shows eventually fell off when they got to moving them around, particularly around
yeah,
the time of the Cosby Show and all of that. Because during that time in TV, if your show was on Thursday night, you might as well forget about
pretty much.
it. Because most of us was watching NBC, and I'm talking about black, white, polka dot. We all was watching NBC on Thursday nights, from
Yes.
Cosby Show on down to Hill Street Blues.
Because when you switch out people, man, as far as their time slot on certain
Right, I mean,
days,
like take Fridays. Everybody was watching TGIF on Friday.
absolutely, absolutely, and I
And then
believe that
first,
was
back when we was growing up in the 70s, early 80s, everybody was watching CBS on Friday. Because between the Incredible Hulk and the Dukes of Hazzard, that was it. And then Falcon Crest would come on, and there.
Crest, man. That was
Mm-hmm.
another good one, man. But yeah, people don't remember them days, man. And we talked about that a while ago before we even was doing the show about the like on Friday, you had the monsters, Tales from the Dark Side, Friday the
Yeah.
13th, then
And late
Saturday.
night you had Charlie Brown, the karate movies and whatnot. Oh yeah.
Man, the Kung Fu Theater, man.
Right. Then of course, late night you had Laurel and Hardy, and of course Benny Hill.
Remember the one thing we talked about too, E, and you ought to be ashamed for not bringing this up because you older than me. What happened at 12 o'clock or 11:59? Let's be honest. What happened at 11:59 back in the day?
Well, it depends on how far back in the day you go.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, when you talk like the late 70s, early 80s, at 12 o'clock on most stations, that was it. Ball game.
They hit the
They did
national
the
anthem, and that
blues,
was it.
they did the late night show, and that was it. You got
And you know what movie
kids
I
these
saw?
days have no idea what that's like.
The movie I saw that brought that back that made me bring this up was I was watching the Poltergeist movie not so long ago, and that's how it started. That national anthem, and then the PDD just fizzed out, man. It
Now
wasn't
look
nothing.
here, y'all. Y'all see the TV, right? That's basically the Poltergeist TV right there.
Oh man, the
Look.
exact same one.
Exactly.
They rolled that mug out the apartment when they got no. I think it was a hotel. They rolled that mug right out the hotel at the end. Like, nope.
Right. I mean, because think about it, Hugh. We live in a world now where kids ain't never seen a TV like that.
Nah.
They have no idea what that is behind me. Right where I'm sitting right now, when we first moved into the Nighthawk Network studios back in 1975, that a TV much like that one sat right here, down there where I'm sitting. Big old TV.
And it's crazy too how the TVs evolved, man. You had those
Exactly.
type of TVs to the floor model ones. Then they had those projector ones that was real big and clunky,
Yeah.
to flat screen LCDs, and man, we evolved on the TVs, man.
Now,
basically,
TV.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? You
them
can actually watch
lightweight
TV on your
computers and
phone.
TVs. Yeah,
Never would have thought that in a million years.
and we still behind, man, compared to like China.
Yeah, don't even get us started on that. But yeah, back to the show though. Certain things that I liked about the Facts of Life was, all the characters was like they own unique, separate person.
Yeah.
So as we was growing up in that time, everybody had that one that they liked. You know what I'm saying? Some people was Blair people. Some people was Tootie people. Some people was Joe people. Some people like Natalie for whatever reasons. You know what I'm saying?
You said for whatever reason, why you playing Natalie like that?
Natalie, if I was to rank them, I would definitely go Tootie, Joe, Blair, and then Natalie. I ain't like Blair so much because she thought she was all of that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's interesting because one of the things they fought with over the years, when you look at some of the documentaries and whatnot, is they all kind of grew up and blew up, so to speak.
Yeah.
Joe was pretty much the same size throughout, but all the rest of the girls, they definitely had some weight fluctuations as they got older.
And I like to see that too, man, because what was the sad thing that I saw that you showed me not so long ago, man? And I knew we was gonna talk about that as far as the good, bad, and ugly of that show was the fact that when we talked about it, and we never talked about who it was, but we kind of figured who it was when they had that beef over 30 years, man, basically saying we actually hated each other, couldn't stand each other at one point, and it was because of those egos, man. And I believe once they reconciled, though, it was just that one person who just didn't click with everybody, man. And they say,
right. Keep in mind, it was Charlie Ray, Mrs. Garrett that kind of brought them all back together at one point. Because right around the time when she started being sick and she eventually died, they all kind of for a time reconciled with one another. And they actually talked about, doing a reboot of the show. We'll talk about that in a minute. But here's a little trivia for you guys. 2 of those 4 girls on the show actually end up having at least one song or credit for one song on the Billboard charts. Do you
Mm-hmm.
know who those two people are?
I know Natalie was one of the backup singers on Pretty Young Thing, a Michael Jackson song.
Now, ain't that something? And
I
if you
couldn't believe
listen real close, you could kind of almost hear her as one of the background singers. And it just was one of those, she was at the right place at the right time. And it was like, I'm singing on the thing.
And
And
then a
then, of
lot of
course,
people don't know. I seen that in the algorithm, like, man, right before we was talking about doing this show. This was like maybe 2, 3 months ago. And I couldn't believe it. I said, yeah, right. But then, that's the good thing about the internet and stuff now, because things we didn't see back then, we could see now. And they talk about some of the stories and the things that we didn't see up close and personal. So, yeah, that's pretty cool, to actually be able to get that feedback now.
right. Then, of course, there was Kim Fields who did the song, ironically enough, called Dear Michael, about Michael Jackson.
That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, so basically, y'all go on YouTube, you can see both of those things that we're talking about. But yeah, back to the whole reboot thing. I really wanted to see what that was like, where they would be in their life at this point.
Yeah.
Because seeing they all would be around our age, about 45, 55, somewhere in there. And, I'm sure they would have them have kids and all that good stuff. But, that was all around the time around the pandemic when we started watching a lot of the older shows because wasn't no new shows being made at the moment.
Absolutely.
And that's when the whole reboot idea started to hit everybody. But that definitely was one I wouldn't have mind seeing. I mean, keep in mind also, Facts of Life was one of those shows where you got a lot of guest star appearances on
Yeah.
it.
Like my man George Clooney, you know what I'm saying? I remember him.
Who
He
ended
was
up being part of the cast eventually, right?
he was like the handyman on the show.
Yes.
And it'd be cool to hear stuff like that because you just think that they only gonna be on there for a minute, but then the people fall in love with the character, and the character get more airplay.
Right. Then, of course, if y'all know Kim Fields, her mom, of course, is Chip Fields, and she ended up, if I remember right, directing a few of the episodes of Facts of Life. If y'all don't know who Chip Fields is, I'm sure a lot of y'all are fans of the show Good Times. Penny's mama, yeah, that was Chip Fields.
Man, she did a hell of an acting job on there, man. I don't think people
remember that to this day. That's probably one of the most memorable episodes in the history of television.
Because you hated what she did, but when she broke down what she was saying, it's like, man, that lady acted her ass off. Man, she did a pretty good job. That was a good role.
Right, because of course, Kim Fields has talked about it. Like in real life, she would have never done that to either one of them, her or her sister Alexis Fields, who also guest starred on Facts of Life at some point.
And that's crazy too, man. Because remember, you sent me something else too, man, about what Kim Fields, and I felt kind of sad, man, when they were saying that when they had like a reunion, when they talked about the Facts of Life and Different Strokes as far as the reboot, and she said when they mentioned the Facts of Life, they all came out. But when they mentioned Different Strokes, they was like, Willis was the only one who came out, man. Todd Bridges,
because he was the only one still alive to come out.
And all the stuff he did, you'd have thought he wouldn't have been here, man. But
right, of all people,
here because he got his life together after that. Because I remember hearing the story about how he was at one point.
Right, it's crazy because if you get to know the whole Todd Bridges story, he got a lot of famous friends out here that basically looked out for him over the years. I mean, people like Mike Tyson, people like Arsenio Hall, people like Sugar Ray Leonard. He basically hung out with a lot of Hollywood people. I mean, people like Eddie Murphy. They was real good with Todd Bridges.
Back on that, man, with him and Eddie, man. Yeah, that's pretty deep. But yeah, man, it was just good. He got his life back together, man. Because like you said, I thought we was gonna lose him the way he was going, man.
Right, and then shout out to Kim Fields because, of course, out of everybody on that show, she probably had the best career out of everybody moving forward. Because, of course, she went on to do another very popular show that we'll talk about, Living Single.
Yeah,
and did that for several years. And of course, she just got through doing the show on Netflix.
Yeah, I ain't like hearing what you was telling me yesterday, man.
And then, of course, for those of you who are into the whole reality space, she did that year on Real Housewives of Atlanta, which I really didn't care for her doing it. She had no reason to really do that show. It was not for her.
Yeah, them some weird shows, man. I never really got into all that craziness, man, on them type of shows.
Yeah, but I know, again, these are shows that a lot of you guys, keep in mind, as we're doing this show, we definitely want to know some of the shows that you guys want us to talk about. So by all means, put them in the comments, and we definitely want to see your commentary about what we're talking about, because usually when we air this show, we'll either do it in some type of live version, or we'll have some live check-ins where we can check in and answer some of your comments about the show that we're talking about, or the shows that we're talking about.
Yeah.
What else do you remember about Facts of Life, Hugh?
I remember just the fact when I was little, man, and I used to watch the show and how you like everybody else, man, how I like Tootie, man. You know what I'm saying? She was one of my favorite characters on there, and how she's grown and to be who she was, man. Until I seen Janet on Different Strokes, But yeah, man, it was just a lot of things that I've noticed, man. Just a lot of good stuff too, and the bad on the show, like the episode with Joe, man. I think the guy I think he did try to rape Joe on that show, on that episode. And that was a guy who Blair liked, but at the same time, I remember him saying that, "Oh, Blair, man, you the person who, I'd rather wine and dine before I try to do anything like that with." But he was basically saying how Joe was poor, she was like, beneath him, or like basically, what did he call it, street trash or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, it got really out of hand because at first Blair was trying to figure out what was going on with them in their day, but when she found out what happened, it was good that she came to Joe's aid, man, and kind of stuck up for her. When at the time they really didn't too much care for each other, and they was always at each other's throat. But it was just good to see that, man, that she had her back in that episode, because that episode, man, she came back, hair all messed up, her little dress and stuff all torn off. I wasn't aware, I didn't even know anything about stuff like that then. But seeing that episode not so long ago, man, yeah, it was like, man, they were really talking about stuff you ain't think they'd talk about back then.
I mean, and then you learn lessons about being a gossip, because Tootie was always gossiping, and that got her in trouble, and basically about being stuck on your looks and whatnot. Learn that from the whole Blair episodes and what have you. Just basically about, I remember the episode where Mrs. Gear was tired of them, and she just basically was going to leave because they was always arguing and fighting, and they all had to come together and convince her to stay. It was so many, many good episodes over the years of that show. And then, of course, the last year when they had Cloris Leachman be the Mrs. Garrett character, it didn't quite hit the same.
Yeah, I forgot about her.
And they brought in a couple young kids to kind of add some spices.
I mean, boy, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, they was kind of digging at that point.
And you notice that's what they try to do, man. Once they feel like a show missing their funk, they'll get like a young kid.
Okay, now Hugh, there's a saying in the business, when the show get like that, we call it jumping the shark.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we'll definitely talk about jump the shark moments as we talk about some of these shows. Basically, that term comes from back in that show that we know as Happy Days, where there was one episode where Fonzie decided to jump over a shark.
That was
and
the
what
worst.
literally happened was, after that episode, the ratings for Happy Days went big time down here. And from that point on, it was only a matter of time before they got rid of the show.
I remember they made fun of that episode on that 70s show, which, we definitely going to have to talk about that eventually.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's crazy because if you think about a lot of those episodes of Facts of Life, some of the same plot lines and storylines you've seen in a lot of episodes of TGIF. Like, some of that stuff that they did on Family Matters. Some of the stuff they did by Step by Step. Or what's the other show? Hell, even Sister. Some of those plot lines come into play. And that, Moesha, the Parkers, some of them storylines come into play and all of that. And it all kind of started with shows like The Facts of Life and Different Strokes.
It actually opened the door for all of those type of shows, man.
Right.
Because, yeah, I definitely remembered a lot of those episodes being a kid, man, just being at home. And like you said, man, what made it so good, too, is we didn't have to really spend a lot of money on, like, cable and all the streaming websites and stuff, man. It was just, TV was so good back then. It was hard to get in, some people had, like, satellite or something like that. The more, people who had a little bit more money than we did, the people working at the plants and stuff. But for the most part, you didn't really necessarily need that because you had all you needed right there on network television.
And one of the things I like about a lot of those shows from back then, you didn't necessarily have to see previous episodes. If like basically season 3, something of Facts of Life was the first episode of Facts of Life you saw, you were still entertained,
Yeah.
and made you want to know. Okay, so what other things do these kids get into? You know what I'm saying? It seems like a lot of shows nowadays is set up to where if you don't see like that first couple episodes, you big time lost.
It's like that with a lot of stuff, man. Because I had to tell people, like, me being like one of these horror movie fans, you ain't watched these movies, or if you ain't watched this stuff, man, leave that alone. And that was like that with a lot of those MCU movies, man. Like, you need to
Absolutely.
see these movies to even
Yeah, I
understand
mean,
what's going on.
truthfully, yeah, if
You
you
got
basically now just watching Marvel movies and stuff come up, you big time not understanding the significance of a lot of stuff.
But you can just jump right in on the network TV shows and, kind of
Mhm.
catch up, learn the characters because they basically was real vivid on just putting the spotlight on characters. You might see all of them, but they'll have the one vocal character that they'll put up on the spotlight. And that's what made the TV so good back then because they pushed the limits when you didn't think they was gonna push limits, man, to tell you like different episodes and things that's happening. Because like you said, Tootie dressing like she was older, man, made Miss Garrett feel uncomfortable. It's a lot of stuff like that was going on even now to this day. Because
Right.
a lot of people don't realize he went on back then. It's coming back to life, man. Did you hear about now, man? They about to talk. Well, they ain't talking about it. They about to bring back the cassettes, man. You heard about that?
The
They talking about
cassette.
bringing back cassettes, man. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yep, I was hearing about that. Remember that old school radio hookup I showed you, like with the CDs and stuff? We were
Mhm.
just talking about how they starting to distribute and bring back out the albums, man. So yeah, everything goes back from old being to the new thing.
Right. And keep in mind, since we sitting here in this AI space, I think at some point in the next 5 years, they will figure out a way to bring back a show without actually bringing it back. In other words, because we can do stuff in the AI space, I could see you taking a show like, say, Family Matters and starting right from where they left off in year 9 and having those characters look like slightly older or whatever, and whatever they would be doing 2 or 3 years later. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to going all the way back to what they're doing now as adults.
Because when Family Matters fell off and they had Steve Urkel play that thug character. That's when they went. Steve Urkel was the thug
That-
character.
all
And,
right, so yeah,
and
we
they
gonna
switched
leave a
it up.
choice to y'all guys. All right, I'm gonna give y'all 4 choices. You let us know which 2 shows you want us to do next. Family Matters will be one of them. Pick another one, Hugh.
Okay, you already know that 70s show.
That
I
70
definitely put
show is
that one.
one. Okay, I'm gonna throw in Laverne and Shirley,
Ooh,
and you pick one more.
okay. So I'm not gonna go too deep into it. You know what, man? Let's let's talk about Full House, man. Would that be something y'all be
All
interested
right,
in?
so those are your 4 choices for the next episode. We're gonna do 2 of those shows. We got Laverne and Shirley, we got Full House, we got that 70 show, and we got Family Matters. You guys let us know which 2 of those 4 shows you want us to do, and that's what we'll do for the next episode. But that being said, we are done talking about Facts of Life. If those of you who have never seen Am episode, hey, it's on Tubi, y'all. Go to
Yeah,
Tubi. You can watch it all for free. Free, free, free.
and
And
YouTube. That's how I caught
yep,
off with some of the episodes and kind of watched some
absolutely. And I
stuff.
definitely suggest YouTube because a lot of these shows we talk about, they will have like documentaries and stuff that we'll be checking out to learn little facts like we learned today. And yeah, just check it on out, y'all. So this is Two Unks Talking TV, also known as
Two
Two
brothers
Brothers Sitting
on
on the
the
Couch,
couch.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So, either way, hope y'all enjoyed it. We will catch y'all next time. Deuces, baby. Hey, y'all. I hope y'all definitely enjoyed that. I liked all the commentary that was going back and forth through it. You see, Roden already made her choice, Family Matters. That is definitely one of my first choices, too, Rod. Liked a lot of the comments. I want to go through a few of them before we go into the next part of the show here. Brother Trey said, my brother and I watch the Hawk and the Dukes every week, every Friday, 8 and 9 p.m., sir. If I remember right, and Big Meech would know this better than anybody. No, actually, Now I think about it. Same network, different day. Wonder Woman. Was that Wednesday that Wonder Woman came on, Meech? I want to say that was Wednesdays. Let's see. Falcon Crest was NBC. No, actually, Falcon Crest was on CBS. Meech from 81 to 90. Research department looked that one up for me. Natalie still had hatred in her after that nasty fallout. We really didn't get into that like I wanted to, but yeah, definitely. There was a talk of a spinoff, and the reason why it didn't happen was because everybody had agreed at first, but then Kim Fields allegedly went behind everybody and tried to get her own separate deal, and that kind of kiboshed the whole thing. Tracy said, Tootie and Janet were my first crushes. Me too. Love Janet Jackson on Different Strokes. So fine. Leather Tuscadero, which was Pinky's sister. I remember that and how she was trying to holler at Chachi. Yes, it was actually Pinky Tuscadero. I know Tracy meant to say that. He just typed it in wrong, I think. Urkel being a thug was so bad. Yeah, I especially didn't like the fact that they claimed he was from Detroit. G-Dog, whatever he was supposed to be. Stay on brand with the spinoffs. Do Laverne and Shirley, the spinoff from Happy Days. Absolutely. And indirectly, Mork and Mindy. That show was also a spinoff, a Happy Days, sort of. We'll get into that when we get there. Okay, we got the spell check threw me off. Yep, I knew it. I knew that's what you meant. Okay, let's see. Yes, Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. Keep in mind, one of his favorite shows as a kid was Wonder Woman. That's why I knew he would know. But yes, I like that Wonder Woman show as well. Definitely watch that one. Kim Fields says Queen Gemini checking in. Thank y'all for checking in. Okay. So yes, we will definitely be doing this show on Sundays after the holidays, of course, because it's, as you know, this is the last show of the 2025 season we'll be doing here at the Nighthawk Network. Want everybody to take the time to enjoy their people and their holidays and whatnot. Okay, when we come back, good people, the moment some of you have been waiting for, because I've been advertising it all week, I will give you my final comments for I Am Nighthawk. I will definitely be thanking some people. Several of you are already in the room. I appreciate y'all showing up. Some of y'all sure will pop in as you see what's going on. I definitely have some people that I do not have love for that I will discuss. I also will have some things about what's going on that I will finally address the way that I really wanted to. And I just took this time to wait until I actually got here to do so. Mark and Mindy was my brother's favorite, says Tracy. All right. So, yeah, we definitely will take it over. And like I said, if you have shows y'all want us to talk about, by all means, hit us up in the messengers and whatnot, and we will compile that list and get to doing it. I know, of course, my brother Hewley definitely wants to do the Welcome to Derry because he is big on Welcome to Derry. I myself definitely want to do Big Bang Theory because I'm big on Big Bang Theory. So we'll be doing that and those other shows. Just let us know, all right? So, yeah, let me go to my commercials from my Nighthawk Network, our voices from our people. And when I get back, it's showtime. Nighthawk Network presents Pastor Sean Love. Pastor Sean Love, devoted father and husband, a residing pastor at the River Rouge Bible Assembly in River Rouge, Michigan. Join him as he gives us messages from God's Word, Bible study, and encouragement. You can find him on YouTube under Sean Love.
Hello, hello, hello. It's another glorious day, my tea-sippers, and you know what time it is. I hope you have all of your comfort together because it's time to dish tea. And you're dishing tea, darlings, with Big Meat.
Can't wait. It's time to dish tea with Big Meat. It's time to dish tea with Big Meat. It's time to dish tea with Big Meat. It's time to dish tea with Big Meat.
Darling.
Hey, this is your boy eBuck, and if you're looking for some great desserts, something sweet, something to treat yourself with, please check out my girl Caramel Sweets here in the Metro Detroit area. She can make desserts for your function, your event, or just for that special someone you want to give something nice to. So check her out. It's Caramel Sweets. You can find her on Facebook and Instagram. We appreciate you.
Looking for the ultimate throwback experience? Tune into Nighthawk Network Radio. Imagine jamming to classic hits and the best B-sides from your favorite artists. Yes, those hidden gems you forgot you loved. We're serving up a variety of genres that'll have you singing along, from smooth R&B to those hilarious comedy bits that'll make you chuckle during your commute. Whether you're cruising down the road or relaxing at home, we've got the perfect soundtrack for you. It's like a nostalgia trip with every song. Trust me, you'll find yourself reminiscing about the good old days, right? So, why not give it a listen? Click the link to join the Nighthawk family and rediscover the music that shaped your life. You won't want to miss out.
All right, y'all, we are back. This is I Am Nighthawk, the final episode. eBuck in the building, ready for some last word. But first, let me get a couple of these comments in because we want to address every last comment pops up on here. Good, bad, or otherwise. Okay, here's a thought for you. The comparisons between the similar shows Wonder Woman versus Bionic Woman, Bewitched versus I Dream of Jeannie, The Monsters versus the Addams Family, and for that matter, Bionic Woman versus the $6 Million Man. Because again, spinoffs as we're talking. I Dream of Jeannie, The Monsters. Then we could always talk about shows like Bewitched and the failed spinoff, which was Tabitha. A lot of in-betweens in that particular scenario. We got also Christy Love versus Police Woman. Now, see, for y'all people that ain't quite as old as me and Meech, y'all not up on the Christy Love. But yeah, definitely when you think about that time where women were not seen, but as such, when you had shows like Police Woman and Christy Love, very controversial for the times, but in the same token was definitely precursors to other things that went on. Also, remember the first show featuring a black woman as the lead, that is Julia. Y'all remember Julia? I know you do, Big Meat. You've talked about it on the show. But yeah, a lot of things we could do in that space. And I definitely see that show seems to be something that y'all can definitely get into more than what's been going on my show. It's crazy because I'm sitting here now and I'm looking at the numbers. This is probably going to be the most watched episode of I Am Nighthawk since the beginning. Sad that it takes this to make that happen. But that's just part of the discussion we shall have now as I give you my final I Am Nighthawk show thoughts. Now, the main thing that I want to do in this discussion is thank the people who made my podcast journey up until this point possible, but also give y'all some of my truths. Because tonight I am wanting to speak on some things that I've never talked about on the air, or I kind of glazed over on the air, but didn't really get into. Some of that I'm going to actually get into in this discussion. Understand, I know, based on what I'm going to say, I'm going to piss off several people in my family. I'm going to piss off a few people in my friend group. I'm going to have a couple people say, you shouldn't have said that. Do I even need to say what I want to say right there? That look should tell it all. That part. This is my damn show. Let me do me. All right, that damn Tabitha spinoff was horrible. It could have been the T, truthfully. Bionic Woman and $6 Million Man. Yep, absolutely, Tracy. So, all right, let's get it in. Here we go. First and foremost, let me thank the entity that makes all of this possible, God Almighty. Because if not for God Almighty, I would not be sitting here right now talking to you. Since the show has started, I'm going to throw a number out here, and that number is like 7. There's been 7 times in the last 5 years that something has happened to me, and because God looked out for me on that day, it did. I literally should not be sitting here talking to you because I should be somewhere probably in this urn next to my mama right here because of what happened in the moments, okay? Couple of those things I will talk about, couple of those things some of y'all know. Let's just say that, in life sometimes we really need to be more appreciative of the time that we have been given here on this place we call planet Earth. Hugh says, get your popcorn ready. Right on. So yes, first and foremost, as we all should whenever giving true thanks, thank the Creator, the Almighty, whether you know him to be God, Jehovah, Allah, whatever the case may be, give him thanks. Because every day is a new day, and no day is promised. No man, woman, child on face of the earth knows when their day is the last day for sure. Okay? That is up to the Creator to decide that. So I am thankful in this moment that I'm able to speak my truths this one time. Now, let me kind of go through things right quick. Life be lifing. You and I both, E. I just don't say it. Right on, right on. So here's the thing, people. This show was made possible through 3 moments. One, the initial moment when a good classmate of mine, you know her as Nisi Daniels, I know her as Nicole Gilbert, came to my inbox wanting me to be a part of her podcast show, one she had been doing for years, okay? I was a guest on that show. She invited me because she wanted to talk about my time as the editor of our school newspaper, the Cody Times, as I was the editor of that fine publication for the year 1988. Yeah, I'm that old. So we talked about that and some of the things that I put in the paper, so on and so on and so forth. But it was my first time on air. I was nervous. I was uncomfortable. I didn't feel like I looked right. Y'all could go back in the archives of Nisi's YouTube page and find that episode, by the way. I think I might even have that in my archive somewhere in my YouTube page. But anyway, I'm sure Meech does also. But yeah, I definitely did that show and thought to myself, yes, of course you was there for that, because Meech was also a guest on that show that fateful day. And you do come into the story, sir. And also Jessica Kara Moore, also known as the Poet Laureate of Detroit. We featured her book a couple weeks ago on Roadshow. Remember this book, We Want Our Bodies Back by Jessica Kara Moore? That and her other books of poetry you can find on Amazon, or you go to Barnes & Noble, etc., etc. Let me show her some love and thank her. I really wanted to have her on the show one day, but I know she's a very busy woman, and we just never figured that thing out. But yes, you are one of the people I'd like to thank, Miss Jessica Kara Moore. Keep doing you, boo. Like I said, after doing that show, on the one hand, I was very excited about the possibility of maybe doing my own podcast one day because it was something I thought about, but I really didn't think I was capable until that day. But also, I thought, no, I don't like how I look on screen. So yeah, I'm going to do a podcast, but I'm just going to do an audio one. So that's how I started. So for those of y'all who remember the back episodes of the original Get Off My Lawn, the audio edition, which you can still find over there on Spotify, where I talked about the things that was going on in the world. And of course, all that happened right around the time this thing called COVID-19 popped off, all right? And I'm not going to rehash that because we know from when I did the show known as Get Off My Lawn. Some of y'all did not care for that content. You may have watched the episode too, but when you saw that the majority of those several first episodes talked about what was going on during them times, it was a trigger for you. And you just didn't watch. And it got to a point where you felt like that's all I talked about. And going back to some of them episodes, yeah, that was a lot of the content, but it wasn't all I talked about. It really wasn't. And I really wish you would have gave that part of I Am Night or Get Off My Lawn more of a chance. Now, in the process of all that, I met several people along the way. One of them, of course, is my good brother, Big Meech. What's going on, Meech? And I started to check out his pod show, known, of course, as Dish and Tea, which you can check on Fridays and other times when Meech is so inclined. And, of course, I always post that on the I Am Nighthawk information page for y'all to check out. And you should, because some of those are very, very deep discussions that I very much enjoyed over the years, that I also took part of on occasion, which I very much appreciate and hope to still do in the future if I am so allowed, Bixter. But in watching his show and watching how he did it and learning his story about how he had been doing it for so many years on the radio station, and because I know you think about it, it seemed like more times than not, Rode, I will let you point out what radio affiliate that was, because her show was also a part of said radio affiliate. So yeah, please post that information for people. But yeah, I very much like what he did in the podcast space. So as I thought about it, I really said, you really could do the on screen. You see how Meech do it. All you gotta do is ask him the general info and he'll let you know, and he did. And it was like, okay, let's give it a shot. So I did that. And if you go back on my YouTube page, you will find the very first episode. Get Off My Lawn. Very sketchy. Sit right here, probably about maybe a foot away from where I got the studio now at the crib, and did them first shows. Uncomfortable as I was, but yet did it. There we go. Blog Talk Radio Network, which is unfortunately now defunct. And I hate that. I hate that for you. I really hate that for Rode, because Rode was very much in her element in doing that show. And, you know, me and Meech were also a part of Blog Talk Radio. Absolutely, Rode. And, you know, and when we talk about that, I can see the hurt in your eyes when you talk about it. You really did enjoy being on that platform and what it did and the people you talked to. And like I said, you had a lot of great interviews and just a lot of good times on there. And I enjoyed listening to the music you played and all of that. And I'm sorry that our station really don't learn itself to fully what you were doing over there. But we'll talk about that a little bit later in the discussion. Anyway, I went ahead and started doing it. And the thing was, on the one hand, I was having the discussions, but also in the initial show, I wanted to talk to people. I wanted to bring them on and have discussions with them. And I was able to do that early on. And I want to thank a lot of those people that came on early on. People like Big Meech, people like Big Red, of course, Nikki. I'll get to that person in a minute. You already know where I'm going. And keep in mind, I don't know where my emotions is going to take me in this discussion, but I got to let it be what it be. So if I cry a few tears, if I yell a little bit, please understand where it comes from. But yeah, we brought people on. We talked about the things that I talked about. We talked about the things that they talked about. I brought on special guests that I met in the space known as Bigo. Now, the reason why I Am Nighthawk did not work to the degree that Get Off My Lawn did early on was because I kind of distanced myself from the Bigo universe based on several of the things that went on over there. I have invited some of you this evening to tune in to that. Coach is saying, how is Miss Nikki? Nikki has been very busy. That's why you have not seen her on the air. Of course, Meech probably can speak to that better than I. I have not really talked to Nikki much this year, but I know that she's been working a lot. And we really do miss seeing her on the air. I just miss talking to her. Nikki, please reach out if you see this. Just let me know what's going on with you. I miss your presence in my existence. But yeah, the Bigo people that I met, particularly my people from the Canadian border, my people that I met from over in Toronto, people like my nieces, like you know who you are, Miss Cynthia. You know who you are, Miss Crystal. You know who you are. To my nieces, Abigo. You know who you are, Shy Lee. I miss all of y'all. I miss seeing y'all on Bigo every day. I miss the discussions we used to have. I miss our little adventures and you know, DJing for the Bigo parties and all that good stuff. And of course, Bigo still does exist and those spaces exist. But the thing was, I really got uncomfortable with what was going on over there. I got involved with some of the wrong people over there. And all that was happening during the time of my life where there was a lot of chaos outside the scenes. Because remember, those were the times in which I was dealing with my mom and what was going on with that and pandemic. And it just became too much. So I had to step away from the Bigo universe. Though some of those people I still contact with from time to time. And also to my Pacocha people, some of which are here in the network. I want to thank several of you, particularly my Poco cuz, who chimed in at times, but I felt like the subject matter got to be things that she was not comfortable talking about. She does not see government as I see it. In other words, she's a Trumper, but I did not crucify her for that at that time. I will discuss that a little bit further, though. But, you know, she is good people. Her husband, her children, good people. I do miss her. Shout out to you, Poco, cuz you know who you are. To my Poco daughter from over there in Canada, who just chimed in one day on the Poco like, hi, Dad. And from that point on, she was my Poco daughter. And she just liked what I had to say and, you know, felt like I was a good influence in her life. And, you know, every now and then chimes in on my Instagram like, hey, Poco Dad, what's going on? You know. So, yeah, I appreciate you. Thank you, Dark Moon, for that. All right. There are some people I'm glad are popping into the feed. What's up, Buck? Big Red fella checking in. Right on, Big Red. Hey, Uncle E-Buck. Israel. Mr. Israel. So glad you are here. Definitely have some things to say to you, my friend. But okay, going back to my thank yous. Again, thank you to all those people who tuned in early on, but you know, as time went on, kind of dropped off. It's okay. Life changed, your circumstances changed. I get it. Okay. Now, let me be very clear. I never expected the people who watch this show to watch it every single day, every time it came on. Sometimes I talked about things that you just wasn't feeling that particular week, or you know, you were just busy and you just popped in. I really appreciate those of you who did that, but still took the time to say hi. Big Joe, for example, Big Joseph Mosley. Some people I will actually name in these discussions. Some people I will not. You'll just know I'm talking to you. Big Joe, I appreciate because every week he would check in. What's going on, fellas? Good afternoon, gentlemen. Good evening, gentlemen. And you know, I know he probably may have watched sometimes just a few times, and he was actually a guest on the show a couple times. But you know, I appreciated that he checked in to that degree. It was cool. Now, understand, Sunday was the day I chose to do my show because I felt like in the universe as I knew it, most of you, if you had any time to watch any of the show, it would be on Sundays based on y'all work schedules and whatnot. Keeping in mind that I work every day, as Hugh will attest to. I work every day, even on Sunday. So oftentimes when I did the show is after I worked all day. Okay, now granted, I do not work the way I once used to. And I will get to that part in a minute. But in the end, I felt what I had to say was important enough for me to take a woosah moment, change out whatever, and come on the air and kick it with y'all about what was going on my mind, okay? We will definitely get to that, sir. We'll have that discussion. All right, now, here's the thing, people. This is it, because I don't want to waste y'all time, and I'm tired of wasting my time. Remember, I said I Am Nighthawk is the show that talks about the things I think about while many of you are asleep. Now, it was a double entendre when I said that. Some of that is literally because at 2 and 3 in the morning, I'm up thinking about some of these things I talked about on the show, and I know most of y'all are asleep. So I did not have the time to talk to y'all because y'all wasn't able to hear it. You was snoring, okay? But also, I know when it came to some of the things I talked about, y'all was asleep because you really should have been thinking more about what was going on when I first mentioned it. For example, I was probably one of the first people that you heard in these small spaces talking about AI and what type of potential it had and what it would eventually bring. Understand, we only been having that discussion really in earnest the last couple years, and look at how far it has come. If you look at my Facebook page and see some of the things I have posted in recent days, you know that I post things, and when it looked like I was sitting here with my camera phone recording it, and that was me, it looked that much like me, okay? If we can do these things now, the world as we know it has bumped its head and flipped upside down, okay? It's to the point where I did the one episode, remember? And I recorded what I wanted to say, and I had the podcast people that I created do a 4-minute show based on what I said. I could literally do the whole show like that if I had the proper setup. I wouldn't even have to come on here. It would just be my avatar doing this conversation. When I tell you, if we look at 20 years ago this time, remember these? These phones didn't do what they do now. That was just 20 years ago. You can go back 20 years previous to that. There was not these. The very few that existed at the time was big stupid phones like these. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, they look like them big stupid walkie-talkies, okay? Modern technology is changing drastically, okay? 5-10 years from now, we may not even have these. It may just simply be, hey, what's going on? Yeah, I hear you. Because the chip is in your head and the chip is the phone. You know what I'm saying? Or you go, yeah, what's up? On some old Johnny Sacco type stuff, okay? These are things that we as a people need to pay attention to, because particularly people that look like me, that are not getting the proper education, and now we live in a world where the current administration sees things differently and are dealing differently, and that will affect us not even just now, but in the future. These are things that I really wanted us as people to talk about and think about and get into, okay? When we talked about some of the subject matters regarding some of the crimes that's being committed, we talked about stuff like sex trafficking and people being abused, people unaliving themselves, school shootings, so on and so forth. We had those discussions here because on the news, it gets to the point now, it's like, yeah, somebody else got shot today, and in other news. But I wanted you to remember, these people that died existed, okay? They gone now. These were people's children, their cousins, their nieces, their nephews, their aunts, their uncles, all that. So even though the world then pretty much erased and moved forward, and the lives of the people that it affected, it has affected them for the rest of their lives, okay? Understand, I never went to Oxford High School, not a single solitary day of my life. But when I tell you, I think about it often as if I was there in the building that day, because I think about those young people at 15 and 16 years old just beginning to have some semblance of a life that is no longer here. And that person who unalived them gets to live the rest of his days in prison being looked up to by some folks. Do you know that dude gets like fan mail from people saying, yeah, you know, people go back and look at the videos of what happened and give him a thumbs up and all that? Do you understand just how deep some of this is? We are going to have to learn so much as we age. Things are changing constantly. Yes, they are. And we as older people in particular need to embrace the technology. You know what I'm saying? As I'm sitting here in front of this computer screen with all this flashy stuff I done put on here and whatnot, these are things that I have helped to create to make this show what it is. Okay, but these were things that I learned along the way. And since we have in this part of the discussion, and there's a couple of you that are tuned in, do you know at one point, a couple of you came to me and said, E-Buck, yeah, you know, your show all right and whatnot, but I can help you with it. Yeah, if you want me to do some production stuff for you, and yeah, if you pay me blase split, we could do that. And I politely told you no, because no, I'm going to figure it out. Well, let me tell you now in different terms. Hell no. I am so glad I did not take either one of you up on your offer, okay? Understand something. As we sit here in this room, there are several people that's watching the show that are creatives. What that means is that if I really needed to do some stuff that I could not figure out, I could go to them and say, Big Red, Big Me's, not to put y'all out there, but I'm sure y'all don't mind me saying this. Can you help me do this, this, and this? Because keep in mind, both of those two brothers went to school for production, okay? Here's something that they know, but don't know, okay? Do you know? I am a graduate of Eastern Michigan University, something I don't talk about a lot. But yeah, I graduated from Eastern Michigan University. Do you know what my major was, good people? Telecommunication and film, which generally means that a lot of this medium that I'm doing right now is more suited to what I actually went to school for than what I actually ended up doing in real life, okay? And it's interesting because some of y'all that's going to view this right now, y'all really do not know. You see what I'm saying? Say their name and they appear. Because I know who my real friends is. And at that time, those people who claim to be down with me, be my friends, but offer these things for cash payment, you wasn't my damn friend and you ain't give a smurf about me, okay? And I knew that. I figured that early on. That's why, if you notice, when you put in for your friend request and whatnot, because for some reason, you wasn't on my page no more. You know why that is? I took you off. And after tonight, I will be blocking you if you don't block me first. Because I don't want you. I don't need you. No, thank you. We good over here. I promise you we good over here. Oh, my brother testify. That's right. So look here. You are family, but that's a no-brainer for us. Look how we do the commercials. We are growing together. Absolutely. Just yesterday, we was having a discussion about that. And trust and believe, anything you need on this end, Meech, you just a phone call away. Because, you know, in the world known as E-Buck, E-Buck has two phones. Just like Kevin Gates. One for the plug, one for the love. In other words, one of these is my work phone. The other one is my private phone. If you don't have this number, you probably don't matter in my world. I'm going to be honest with you. If you don't have that 313 number, yeah, that part. And that's just keeping it 100 with you. And if that hurts your feelings, so be it. I'm not in the feelings hurt business, but today, no filter. Today, I'm keeping it 105. Damn, 100. Okay? Now, for those people who did not support me in that way, we don't want your support. We don't need it. I'm going to be very transparent in this part of the show. Tomorrow, around this time, I will be deleting several people from my social media. Because I no longer want you in that space that close to my thoughts. You got to go. You got to go because in the end, when I look for an invite or I invite you to my page, is with the understanding that we are going to be connected in that way and we are supporting each other. We are learning from each other. We are keeping up with each other. Some of y'all I don't need to keep up with no more after tonight because you never really kept up with me anyway. And yes, some of my family, I'm talking to y'all. Absolutely. Because yeah, blood of my blood, flesh of my flesh, I get all that. We'll always have respect for that part and our ancestry. But when all is said and done, y'all don't give a damn. And I'm sure you sitting there saying you ain't give a damn about me either. Well, let us both be right. Let me be very clear. I am not a perfect person. Not by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not the perfect size, weight, height. I don't have no Denzel back in the day or Michael B. Jordan body. My finances is trash. My home is beat up. My car is not a 2026. I don't have on jewelry and whatnot. Most of the clothes that I wear come from Walmart and the thrift shop. And guess what? I ain't ashamed of none of it. That's who I am at this point in time in my life. If that ain't good enough for you, get on like you was spit on. And I don't give up. How about that? Now, back to the people I want to thank, okay? Because I want y'all to have more of the spotlight in this scenario than the haters, all right? Your network is your network. Mic drop, that part. I need you to know that during the time that I started all this, I started my podcast for two reasons. One, to inform, entertain, and educate. And two, because like many of you, several of you who are podcasters in the room, it is a form of therapy for me. It was cathartic. Here I was sitting at home, dealing with pandemic, watching people that I loved and care about die every other day. And these last 5 years alone, I've lost my mother, my grandmother, one of my aunts, at least 8 of my cousins. I've lost 3 people that I was romantically involved with, one who I damn near was ready to marry. I've lost an ex who, after not being worthy of me being with her, turned around and got me robbed to the point to where I didn't even want to be where we are right now. Okay? That part. On the other hand, there are other people who came into my existence during that time, and all they showed me was love. Didn't know me from an atom or a can of paint, okay? But from day one, it was all right, and I like that dude, and that dude like me, and it is what it is. These people who I speak of, several of them chiming in right now, they are family to me. Okay, definitely have to send a special shout out to the Nighthawk Network support team, okay, which consists of, but not excluded to, Big Meech, Big Red, Aunt Nikki, Miss Pat, also known as Pernita Taylor. Miss Pat definitely followed all of our shows, much like Road does now. Road, you are part of the support team. We never put you in the chat, but trust me, you are very much a part of us. Of course, the late, great Pride Hunter, rest in peace. And most importantly, I got to talk about friend Amy. Don't forget friend Amy, y'all. And of course, Leah, if you tuning in, we ain't forgot about you, Leah. Princess Leah, as we call her. But most importantly to all of them was my good friend, my family, my brother, Derek Smith, also known as Helena Hologram. Now, it all started innocently enough. I was watching an episode of Dish of Tea with Big Meech. To this day, my favorite small-time podcast show that I like to watch, and I hate that I don't get to see it like I want to, because, of course, I'm doing my thing over there with Coach, and no, Coach, I ain't tripping. I like the show we do. We will talk about that. Yeah, Coach remembers Amy. But, yes, Miss Amy Kaplan Lund, the other research department expert, absolutely. I miss Miss Amy. Friend Amy, who does check in once every blue moon when she can. I mean, you know, when she started in the network, she wasn't a mom then. She's a mom now with Miss Ruby, who is probably nice and big, juicy cheeks and all. But I do miss friend Amy. I did send her the link to this, so hopefully you get to see this and see that I gave you your flowers, Amy. You are very deserving of them. I definitely like what you brought to the shows with the things you would look up, and also your very educated opinions. But yeah, Helena Hologram was a person I met through Big Meech. And she was on the show, and I found her to be very funny, entertaining, but very forthright in her opinions. And that led to us having a discussion off the air about the podcast that she was going to do. And she, in turn, did her podcast, which of course you guys know was the Helena Hologram Show, as she initially called it, but then it was something else. It's hard to talk about even still because, you know, around this time, a few years ago, we lost Helena. It was actually the night of her last show, and the last word she said was, "Brother, I'm scared. I will call you when I get to the hospital." And I never got that call. Now, to this day, I don't know exactly what happened to Helena. It was her people who let me know that she passed. And there was things going on in Helena's life that I'm not going to dispose. That's not my story to tell. My story is to tell my story. And in my story, Helena was one of the best friends I ever had. And I miss her every single day, or him. You will see me go back and forth between referring to her as her and him, because as Helena would explain to you, she was a member of the alphabet community. And even though she was a man by birth, she was definitely in touch with her male and feminine energies and sides, okay? So the term Brista, I learned from Helena. Because, of course, that's how she would describe Meech. Meech is my Brista. I mean, it just, you know, it's an awkward term for me still, Meech, to be honest, but I do feel that way about you. You are family. I love you. I am not ashamed to say that. Now, I bring this up because there were times in relationship of Helena and I where things happened that was related to the network that contradicted what went on with us with real. In real life, we was this, okay? We talked every single day. We basically had a nonstop 2-year conversation, okay? It was to the point to where whenever we popped up in the chats or the phone or whatever, it wasn't no hi. We just continued on with whatever we talked about the last time we talked. That's my Bristol, the original diva gospel, Miss Helena Hologram. Hey Bitches was the name of the show. And again, she changed it to that after the first episode because it fit. It fit. It really did. Now, I had people in the comments say one thing, but then behind the scenes in the DMs be like, what is it with this Helena person? Is that actually a man dressed as a woman? What's going on with that? That's your friend? You motherfucker right, it's my friend. And yeah, I know I'm gonna have to find myself for that one, coach. But yeah, I need y'all to feel me on that, because you know I don't like to really cuss on the air like that. But I need y'all to feel that for a minute. That was my mother smurfing friend. And never ashamed to admit that to me or nobody else. When we come to the pearly gates, I was like, Lord, that was my friend. You may not have agreed with some of the stuff that you did in life, but you knew that person loved you, Lord. And that is that. Not to mention, you should never, because I do not, nor have I ever, judged the person based on who they choose to love and how they love people. I judge them based upon who they are as people. Okay? Because in the end, that's what it's about. Because I promise you that as I'm talking to another person in the alphabet community, Big Meech has a heart bigger than anybody in this room, okay? There are many people on planet Earth that will tell you Meech is one of the best people they have ever met in life. Because his acts reflect his actions, okay? And if you know me as you truly was meant to know me, then you know also my acts reflect my actions. All right? So yes, me and Helena were friends, are friends, period. And when you had an issue with that, I had an issue with you. To this day, I know people do not watch my show or any shows in the network because they had an issue with Helena Hologram. And I don't give a blue fuck. I've had family members literally leave my page for that reason. I had people that was watching that were family that chose not to watch because of that. And unfortunately, because of you too, Meech. And in the end, I'm ashamed of neither of you or either of you. And I told them, particularly my one cousin, if you don't like my content, you ain't got to watch it. And if that makes you not want to be bothered with me, delete me from your page. And they did that. And I'm glad they did that. And there's a few of you who did not do that, but you do feel that way that she felt. So when you go to look for me next time and I ain't there, know that was why. Okay? Because there's my family that is my blood, and there's my family. These people are my family. And I will claim them. I will continue to claim them, because when push came to shove, when things got real hard and deep for me, it was not my family. Most of them. A few of y'all did. Let me be honest. A few of y'all did. A few of y'all do. Shout out to my cousin Marla Fercy, who is not here at the moment. I don't think. If you're his cousin, definitely let me give you your flowers. You were a big help to me through a lot of these things. You were the person that counseled me. You were one of my pastors, along with Pastor Shine Love, who I also want to give a lot of thanks to. Thank you. Thank you so much. But yeah, for several people that is my blood, that ain't my blood, that's my thoughts about it. Because I know there are those discussions that are had outside of the realm of my ears, but are about my person. And if you have a negative opinion of me and could not address it to my face, because at least some of y'all done said it to my face, I respect that. But for those of you who didn't, and I found out other ways, I put two and two together, let me say it to your face directly, right here in this camera. This is what I think about you. Like it or don't like it, hella bad, it's all the same. Lord, forgive me for any anger I have in this part of the conversation. You know that ain't my heart, but in the end, they don't love me. Why should I love them back? I'm just saying. All right, hold on. I'm missing several comments as I'm going off here. I said I want to address all the comments. Let me do so. Smurf that Smurf. Well, thank you, baby. You ain't got to thank me, Meech. Right is right, wrong is wrong. You love me for real. I love you for real, period. Don't give a damn who don't like you. Merchant is a cool dude. Merchant? I don't know who Merchant is. Okay, well, they can kick rocks, says Queen Gemini. Say that, sister. I say all the time, if I lose people because of who they love, then they never were my friend in the first place. See ya. And Tracy, I go back to that fateful day when we had the conversation, as I call it, and you know what I'm talking about. That conversation sticks with me to this day. Some of the stuff we talked about. And I hate that we do not talk nearly as often as we should, sir. Sometime in these couple weeks while I'm off the show, we got to make that happen. You are one of the people that had this number. Whenever you get the time, my brother, by all means, give me a call so we can kick it. Because I love the conversations you and I have. We don't have them often, but when we have them, they are deep. And I definitely could use one of them. And I definitely love that Helena and a lot of these people that you see popping up on the screen, Helena talked to these people down there every day also. I did not even know that till after she passed. She had daily conversations with some of everybody. She checked on her people. That's the one thing I could learn more from her, because I don't always check on my people as I should. And for some of my people, particularly my very small circle, y'all know who y'all are. The three of you in particular, you know who you are. I'm not going to mention you by name because I haven't on the air. That's not something I want to do. One of you of which I know don't watch the show, and at least you was woman enough to tell me, I don't watch the show. And it's not because you hate me, because I know you love me. You love the hell out of me. But because of how you feel about podcasts in general, and I appreciate that opinion. Okay, hold on. Hold on, y'all. I'm trying to keep up. Thank God we got these comments. I wish this was like this every week. Meech is a cool dude, 100. Absolutely. I say all the time. Okay, no, I said that one. Hold on. I will say it for you. Smurf them. But put the F instead of Smurf. Yes, she did, said Queen Gemini. Yes, she did. Talking about Helena, of course. But yeah, and even though there are people in my life that I still talk to, particularly my brother Hugh, when we talk down there every day, you know I love you, Hugh. And damn, I know Diddy and all that. I love you for real. You too, Coach. You too, Queen. You too, Big Red. You too, Tracy. No Diddy just don't fit sometimes, okay? Sometimes love is love, period. All right? Get over it. And speaking of that subject, let me talk about that. Let me get into this part of the conversation before I go too far off. All right. A lot of audience that I could have gained along the way comes from a lot of the people that I was either associated with or worked with. So allow me to kind of go through my life history for a little bit, at least the adult version thereof. You see, when I graduated from Eastern Michigan and did not get a job in telecommunications because they were not accredited. In other words, the things that I learned in school were things that I actually learned. I just learned the old school way to do them as opposed to the modern technology way. But nonetheless, I end up doing other things with my life. One of them was working for a company known as FedEx. I worked there for a few years. I left. A couple people have asked, why did you leave the way you left? Because keep in mind, you put in on 2 weeks, one was just left. Understand, even though I like the benefits of FedEx, I like the fact that they made me a supervisor. I like the fact that they was going to quote unquote consider me for management. I did not like the politics thereof. Meanwhile, here I am working at this simple place called KFC. And I went from being basic crew A to manager in less than 6 months. It took me 2.5 years just to get to be supervisor over there. I was making the same money. Why did I need to work there and there if I'm making the same money. And I wanted to talk to my manager about it, and they ain't had the time to talk to me, so I ain't had the time to talk to them. And I left. Now, some people say, okay, well, you ain't put in your proper 2 weeks notice, nah. Y'all do know that that is something that corporate America would prefer you do. That is not a requirement that you put in a 2-week notice. That, yeah, as a person that is looking to hire people, they consider those things when you don't put in your 2-week notice in corporate America. But as a person who was at some point a manager at multiple places, I never considered if you put in your 2 weeks notice at a place when I hired you. I considered you. Please know that. That part, love is love, accepted or rejected. Your choice. Diddy ain't got shit to do with it. That part. You know that you get that same love right back, brother. From some people, I do. From you, I do, I know. But not from everybody. Everybody ain't for ebook. Just like ebook ain't for everybody, as you are learning in this conversation. Now, there was a point in time when I was at KFC and I felt like they did me dirty, okay? Because my manager, let me rewind. There was a point in time when I was an actual store manager, and particularly when I worked at Inkster, okay? Shout out to any of my crew people from Inkster that might be watching this broadcast. I know y'all wonder why they just got rid of me like that, and suddenly I wasn't the boss over there no more, but yet I still was with the company. Did y'all notice that? Let me inform y'all. They didn't take away my position. I gave it away. I gave it away because I mismanaged that situation. Part of that story, y'all know based on past episodes of I Am Nighthawk, and in particular the After Dark edition. That's where I was wrong, okay? As the older version of me, I can admit that. But also, I mismanaged that situation because I allowed certain things to go on at that store that I could have stopped a lot sooner and should have stopped a lot sooner. Ultimately, it probably didn't matter because if you notice, when you ride past that location on Middle Belt now, that's not a KFC no more. It's a, what's that, Captain Jack's or whatever that is? I don't like that place, okay? Whatever it's called, I don't like it. Because when I drive past most of them, I can smell the old grease. As a person that worked for years in fast food, particularly cooking chicken, I know what old grease smell like. I know what grease that you cook fish and chicken in smell like. Because these places are cheaply ran and cheaply operated, they do these things. Then you wonder why people sick all the damn time. Next time y'all go to whatever that place is, Captain J's, there we go. Ask them, did y'all change the grease today? Do y'all cook the stuff in the fish and the chicken in the same grease? More than likely, they're going to lie to you anyway. But that's something you have a right to know. Because more times than not, the answer might be yeah or no, but they probably lying. They probably lying. All right? Anyway, yeah, I left by my choice because I know I was not doing right by that store. And that store wasn't doing right by me. And some of y'all that I hired, y'all was doing me dirty behind the scenes, big time. And I know it and you know it. And it's a sad state of affairs. And then, of course, when I finally got back to the tailor store, shout out to my first manager over there, Miss Gloriana. Love her. Still love you. I would not be who I am if not for you seeing something in me that other people chose not to see and promote me and pouring into me and giving me opportunities when other people didn't. When you took me into your store in Ann Arbor and Saline, even though that was a hell of a drive, and a couple of them nights I barely made it home in one piece and all of that, I appreciate all that you did for me. Truthfully. When I finally got to Taylor and the manager that was there at that time took over, and he did what he did that fateful day, and a couple of those employees are part of the network. Shout out to you guys. I know you wonder why I left there the way I left there. And truthfully, the way I did it, of which, again, I've talked about on the air, so go back to the past episodes if you want to know what I did. But yeah, I left there because of how that went down. That person was not a good person. I'm not going to name him. Y'all know who he is. And I still feel like to this day, when they said I stole that money, I ain't steal that money. And y'all know I didn't. And either one of y'all took that money, and I'm not talking about, especially if it's you, you know I ain't talking about you. You know I ain't talking about you. I know you didn't. But the people that was on the ship that day, one of them took that money, or one of them managers took that money and set me up. I know it, ain't no doubt in my mind. And in the end, when I left, and they had all that foul stuff to say about me and my person, and he was this, and he was that, and he was this, stuff they couldn't say to my face. How about that? Because in the end, you know what happened to those people, good people? They all got fired. They all got found out for who they were. And then when I went on over to Wendy's after that, and I got dealt with the way I got dealt with over there, to this day, I know more or less it was because I was the only manager that looked like this over there, and I was the new one, and they was the old ones. But in the end, y'all let me go. I made out better in the end, trust me. But then the person that you kept in charge, after they blamed me for everything under the sun, you caught doing all type of foul stuff on the clock. Stealing and doing drugs and so on and so forth. Yeah, you didn't know that part of the story, did you? But that's exactly what happened. So you end up finding that person anyway. God rest your soul. I don't even think that person exists anymore, but hey, it is what it is. To my boss, Mr. Williams, we had the best of intentions, my friend. Who knows what my life would have been if it had worked out there at Kenny's Ribs and Chicken the way it was supposed to. But if y'all know the Kenny Ribs and Chicken story here in Detroit, you know what happened. And I really wish to my employees, a couple of them who are in the network that might see this, I hate that it went down the way it went down that fateful Friday. I really wish we would have had a heads up. And for a couple of y'all know why I say that. I'm going to leave that at that. But we got did real dirty, and I hate that after we have born this bond, this family, where I had did so much for you guys to make it a very small, tight-knit group of folks that I very much enjoyed having as a crew and a staff, that it went down the way it happened. That's usually what happens, says Tracy. I've seen entire human resource departments wiped out. Exactly. But yeah, I missed that job probably more than any other job I had, because I was the boss and I hired everybody in the building and we all got along and we all was just good people. And, you know, even though we didn't make the type of money we could have, we did a good job. The restaurant was clean every day and we had good people come in, and I missed that job. I do. And then, of course, that leads to the job I ended up getting after that. I'm not going to mention that job by name, but I do want to discuss with the owner who may watch this later on down the line, because, you know, that's how things kind of go there sometimes. You once wanted to know why I often addressed the restaurant as Hell's Kitchen. I kind of explained it to you, but let me give you a deeper explanation. Understand, I very much appreciated everything you did for me and my family during the time I was your employee there, okay? I will never forget the love you showed me when my father died. And you had me come back up to the restaurant and sit down and have drinks and talk, and helped me get my mind in order. I will not forget what you did in order to help me with the I don't even know what I want to call what we did for our father. It really wasn't a repast or anything like that. It was just kind of a celebration of his life. And I'm so glad that that happened the way it did organically, because there were things about my father I did not know until that day. And I learned so much about him in terms of how much alike we were, in terms of how we looked out for people and cared for people. I don't always like to advertise some of the stuff that I have done in terms of looking out for folks. But for those of you who are former or present employees of said establishment, you know some of those things that I've done. And I did not do them because I was like, look at me, I did this and this and this for you. I hate people who do that. If you can't do stuff for people out the goodness of what's up in here, out of the soul that God gave you, don't do it. Don't do it. I asked my former neighbor to tune in tonight. Hopefully you're watching at this moment. You asked me for a favor. Under normal circumstances, it would not be an issue. That's a small favor to ask, but I cannot do that favor. If you listen in the next few minutes, I can explain why. But oftentimes I got asked for quite a bit from folks. And if I was able, I did so. If I wasn't, I didn't. And some things I did for people, and to this day, they don't know that's how it happened, or that's who did it. And I'm going to leave it that way. But if you put two and two together, some of y'all, you'll figure out, oh, now it makes sense. But back to my former boss. I do appreciate everything you did, okay? The problem I had that caused me to leave that fateful day on January 20th, 2017 to be exact, was because on the one hand, you have a profitable organization that makes money to this day, and I wish y'all nothing but success, future and all. But at that time, in that moment, at that particular restaurant, for me personally, it was a toxic environment that I could no longer contend with. I didn't always go back and be like, well, yeah, boss, this happened. And yeah, boss, that happened. This, because that's not who I am. Keep in mind, in all the organizations, you have cameras. And people always wondered, okay, dang, they got cameras. We shouldn't do that. They can't hear us, though. You know the truth about that one. So, yeah, a lot of the stuff that went on sometimes, you saw and heard every mother smurfing word. And sometimes you addressed it, and sometimes you chose not to. As the business owner, you are completely within your rights to do as you see fit in regards to that. Not my call on any of that. But when it came to certain things that was said and done to me, y'all seen it. You heard it. That part. So that fateful day when I was told, okay, I need you to go from this position to that position, do understand that once upon a time when I was at the original location and you allowed me to work whenever and however long that I could every week, I very much appreciated that. It helped me dig out of a huge financial hole. Different than the one I'm in now, but that. So I am very appreciative. Please do not get that wrong. But in the same token, I did myself no favors by doing that. As you know, I was not healthy during those times. I lived through pain. For those of you who knew me at that time, y'all seen me constantly limping around. I was in pain every single day. Sometimes all day. It was to a point to where I would buy an entire bottle of Advil. Y'all remember that bottle of Advil I used to walk around with? But when everybody had little headaches and whatnot, yeah, here, have some. And when I was taking them 2 and 3 and 4 times a day, that was not good. That's probably as close as I ever came to being a pill junkie in my life. And because I felt like that some days, I purposely would not take them and just deal with the pain so that I would not become addicted. There were people be like, well, I got these and Motrin 800 and I got Oxycontin. I appreciated that y'all wanted to help me like that, but no, I didn't take them because I ain't want to be no junkie. I always remember that movie. Y'all remember the movie? Where it's like, you promised me you would never become no junkie, and you did, Ray. I wasn't trying to be Ray, okay? Didn't want to be no junkie. So sometimes I just sucked up the pain. So I would walk the 40 to 50,000 steps every day to do whatever I needed to do to get the job done. And it was that much. I have the step counts to prove it, okay? I worked the 80, 90 hours a week to get the money that I needed to do what I needed to do. Granted, some of the things that I did do outside of that, I could have used that money for other stuff more pertinent to what I needed to do. But again, out of the kindness of my heart, that's what I chose to do. Okay? No regrets with that. None. None whatsoever. I was glad that I was able to look out for my coworkers when it came to things like that. I was thankful that people would come to me with their issues that they needed to talk about, and they felt like I was the person they could talk to. I like the fact that I became truly Uncle E at that point amongst the crew. That was cool with me. What wasn't cool with me was that some of the people that was in charge of the building, some of the people that worked with me, they were allowed to do and say stuff to me, that was unacceptable. And that would be unacceptable in any corporate work environment. Okay? Now, granted, it was kind of loosey-goosey then. We did certain things that you couldn't do in a corporate platform, okay? We was kind of touchy-feely with each other and whatnot, but again, when it was mutually that way, it was that way. Okay? Some of the things that shouldn't have went on and some of the things that shouldn't have went on. I'm not going to expose it all, but you know what I'm talking about. I definitely know that the day it jumped the shark for me was a week before that fateful day, when one of your employees chose to question my manhood. And you back there gay anyway. Nah. What you talking about? Yeah, you gay and whatever. Basically said it to my face. Now, this is an employee that had gotten into it with other folks before. And you allowed that person to still be a part of the organization. For all I know, that person still worked there. I don't know that for certain. I know other people that work at the Fairlander location still work for you. And some of them I liked very much and some of them not so much. So, B, if you are checking this out, and particularly you, and of course, Hawk, I would like to come and visit with y'all, but being around those particular people still triggers me. When I see them as I ride past sometimes, I see a couple of them still walking in the building. It triggers me. It puts me in a bad frame of mind. Understand to this day, I have nightmares about working at that place. And if my good friend, my BFF is here, she knows that. I had one the other night about working there. And you should not feel like that about any place that you work at. That's not what you should have nightmares about. But I do. I often dreamt that if I would have came to work that fateful day, as I almost did that day when I went to the hospital the first time and found out that I damn near had a stroke, I would have had that stroke there and I would have died there. I didn't want that for me. That's why I left the first time. And the only reason why I came back the second time was because I was offered a specific position of prep cook And that's all I was going to do. And as you know, it didn't work out that way. Now, part of that could have simply been like, okay, well, E, you should have said something. I thought I did. Apparently, I didn't say enough because when it was brought up that, yeah, you're going to be on the line that day when DT got elected, I'm about to get him in a minute, that you said, yeah. Well, if you don't like it, that's too bad. Well, I didn't like it. And it was too bad because at that moment I knew it's time to go. So, yeah, I know the manager at the time was like, yeah, E, what are you doing? Going on, no. And I left. And I took my phone, I put it on off, and I made it to where couldn't nobody talk to me. And when I finally did get in touch a couple days later and blase splee, I knew what it was because your organization are full of men who are proud people who say, don't want monkey, stop no show. And yeah, you didn't need me. Obviously, you don't need me. Your organizations are still doing just fine without me. You're making more money than you ever had. Again, I am proud of what you have accomplished. I appreciate how you look out for the community. I appreciated how you looked out for certain people when they also had unfortunate deaths in the family and all of that. All those things are not ever going to be lost to me. I would love to see you individually and your brother and all of them. But as far as some of your employees that I worked with and I do not care for, I have no desire to see them ever again in life. They had no love for me and I have no love back. Hate is a powerful word. I would never use the word hate to describe that scenario. I hated the scenario. I do not hate the people. I hate how they felt. I hate what they said. I do not hate the people. And there are far more people there that I love than I hated. And I like that there are several of you who are still my Facebook friends and what you have accomplished with your lives after leaving the organization. And for some of you who are still there and what you're doing with yourselves and your families and all that. And I wish you nothing but the best. I am thankful that you checked into the show and supported me. There are some of my work nieces who stuff I've actually advertised on the show. When you see Karma Sweets, for example, you see So Extra LLC, you see Sunshine Pop-Up Shop. Those are people that I worked with at that organization, and they have their own things they're doing outside of work that are those things. And I will continue to promote you guys. And if you want me to do other promos and stuff with you, feel free to get in touch with me. Nothing but love for y'all. But for some of your co-workers and past co-workers, as the great Chris from Crisscross said, they can get the finger, the middle. Say it with a said. It's Sunday, ain't it, Meech? Remember, said what I said Sunday? This is my version of I said what I said Sunday, and I'm saying it all. Okay? That part. Now, let me talk about my family again for a minute. Keep in mind, family, I love you. Like I said, you blood of my blood, okay? I cannot dishonor my ancestors by saying I don't have love for the people whose DNA is part of my DNA. That would be stupid. Okay? But then again, just because you're family don't make you right, okay? If you don't really care about me, in my word, I just wish you say so. For some of y'all, I can't care about y'all no more. It hurts too much to do so because I know y'all don't live a life that I'm comfortable approving. I can't approve your message, okay? There are some family members and they wonder why you don't never come to family functions and whatnot. It's not that I don't love y'all. It's just that I don't do some of the things you do anymore. I have proudly stated here on my show that I no longer drink or smoke marijuana. Those are things I do not do, things I will no longer do. It's not a scenario where, okay, we get there like, well, you can have one drink, cuz, and then no, I can't. I don't do that because my personal beliefs say what you doing that for? When I was a quote unquote drinker and smoker, I was doing it for all the wrong reasons. I was doing it because other people was doing it. I was doing it because it was the cool thing to do. I just wanted to fit in. I was doing it for being stupid, okay? Stupid reasons for drinking and smoking. I hate the taste of most alcohol. Yuck. Yuck, okay? I hate the feeling that I had when I smoked quantities of marijuana. Mouth all dry, feeling all hazy. It made me feel feels that I don't like to feel and I can't reciprocate said feels, if you know what that means. I did not like the whole process of it. And then to go to work the next day and have to continue with the remnants of that, I don't see how y'all do that every day. I couldn't even do it every now and then. I don't see how y'all do it every day. It's crazy. I really wish y'all would think for those of you who abuse what you do. Why are you doing that? Why are you self-medicating yourself to that degree? You do realize if you become a weed smoker and you smoke to a certain degree, it get to a point where the effects of said thing ain't quite as potent because your body has built a tolerance to it. Same with the alcohol. That's why you have to do even more so. Do you really think about that? Have you ever said, okay, I'm not going to do this for a week or two and see how you feel? Yeah, you might have some withdrawal symptoms to some degree, but on the other hand, your body is telling you, I feel better. I could breathe a little deeper. I could walk a little farther. I'm not feeling quite as hazy. Have you ever even tried it? I'm just saying. And for some of you who now don't choose to deal with me because I don't do those things, I'm a lame. I'm no longer fun because of that. That's why you don't call me as much and what have you, or you don't call me at all because of that. Okay, that's cool. I ain't mad at you. I ain't mad at you at all. Live your life. Because right over here, on this side of town, as far as my house, we shall follow the Lord. And my Lord has me to where I don't need to drink or smoke to feel happy, comfortable, otherwise. And say it loud, cue it up, say what I said about who is that part. So look, good people, to my family who feel like I'm being funny acting and whatnot, I guess I am. I guess I am. Because, yeah, when y'all there and y'all having your functions, I want you to have a good time and be comfortable in your skin and do what you do. And don't feel like the people sitting there are judging you. Because the Bible says, judge yet ye be judged. Okay? And understand I could sit in that environment and not do that. But in the same token, it's like, why on earth am I here? I don't do any of these things. I'm not having a good time. I am not comfortable. Why am I here? So as opposed to being in that space, I don't put myself in that space. Christo Broadnax, thank you for tuning in. Why should you? One of my former co-workers, by the way. I really enjoy seeing that you be getting your walk on and whatnot. I really do need to find a time and space where we can go walking together one day and just have a good conversation. I like the headspace that you seem to be in when you have your discussions on your Facebook page. That is why. And let me talk about that. Now, Crystal, full disclosure. At one point in time when we worked together, I liked you, okay? I'm putting it out there. I'm putting that out there for 3 reasons. 1, I want you to know. 2, because there are other people in this space that is my Facebook space, that at one point in time liked it me. They never spoke on it, but it existed. Maybe still exists. Life is short, people. Closed mouths don't get fed. You should say something. In terms of relationship right now, no, I'm not in one. And yes, some of my family members have questioned that. Questioned it to the point to where they like, well, he probably not seeing nobody because he like dudes or whatever. Dumbass. Dumbass. Particularly the one person I'm thinking of, if you tuning in right now, you more than anybody on planet Earth should know better. You done seen me do what I do. I'm going to leave that at that. And you still questioning it after that? I done hooked you up with girls. You still questioning it after that. And understand, even if I was, ain't nothing wrong with it. We done had that part of the discussion already. Because who I love does not define who I am. Nor should it you. Closed mouths don't get fed. You right. But again, Crystal, I like you for you. You know what I'm saying? You was good people to me when we talked at the job. We had good conversations, I felt. That is why. And of course you're attractive. Let me stop flirting with you on the air. Anyway, look. Here's the thing. Right now I'm at a point in my life where relationship, I'm not in a good space for that. I'm not for 3 reasons. 1, my health is not in a good place. Right now, today, I weighed myself on said scale over here. I weigh 343 pounds, okay? Understand, 3 weeks ago, I weighed 358 pounds. That's the second highest weight I have ever weighed in my entire life. My entire life. My doctor told me that fateful day that if you don't change your lifestyle and the amount of time you working and your diet and so on and so forth, I give you 5 years and you will no longer be here. He told me that 4 years ago. Okay? Now, granted, it's on God to determine our time here for real, for real. I'm missing the comments, y'all. Hold on. Let me go back here. Hold on, Crystal. Closed mouths don't get fed, you right? Mm-hmm. I'm looking forward to that walk. Okay, cool. Health is wealth, my brother. Yep. All of the above. Now, understand, Crystal, we just walking, okay? I mean, my flirtations aside, it's all good. I just want to have some friendly discussion, truthfully. Like I said, right now, I'm not in the space to be in a relationship. I need to get myself together. I need to get my finances together. I need to get to a point to where I can say, this is the rest of my life and this is what it looks like. And right now, I'm a lot closer to the other side of that than to the right side of that. Without it, we don't have anything. Of course, said Crystal. Solid. Okay, look. Here's where I'm at now in this scenario. I live in my mother's home. Bills got behind during the pandemic. Part of that, money mismanagement. Part of that, just the fact that I was not prepared to take over a whole household and still pay the bills that I had at the same time when everything else was going on with my mom's, okay? That led to discussions and disagreements along the way. To my siblings, my brothers, that is much my fault as anybody else's. I take ownership of that. We are in a good place right now, so I'm not having this discussion with y'all to kick back other stuff and start up a whole nother controversy. So when you see this, make sure you watch the whole thing to see that I've said this part. Me and my brothers, we are good, okay? Understand we do not have the relationship as brothers that probably either of you would like to have with your older brother, but do understand we are in a space to where it is in our better interest to just be who we be with each other right now. Where we check in from time to time and say I love you and give each other a hug when we see each other and keep it pushing. Because in the end, y'all both have families and you are good people and your mother is proud of that fact and your father's proud of that fact. And that's all I need to be said on that. Y'all good people. I love you. I will always love you. We will agree to disagree about some things. We will agree on other things. We have some good memories and some bad. In the end, whenever that day faithfully comes, however long ago I have left on planet, celebrate who I was in life that was good. The bad, leave the bad with the bad, okay? I will say that. Now, keep in mind, I'm kind of all over the place in this discussion because, again, this is the last time I want to address any of these things. So I want to make sure I don't leave nothing out. Okay, again, if any of y'all got any questions, comments, whatever, pop on in here. I'm so glad Crystal is here having this discussion with me. Thank you, Crystal. And I know you've had loss in things too. Exactly. See, you was thinking what I was thinking. I lost my only brother last year. Embrace your family for real, says Crystal. And I get that. So, yeah, for any of you, because keep in mind, because I always had this conversation this time of year anyway, so let me say that there are some of y'all, the holidays hit different for y'all, okay? This is the time of year that you think about all the people you lost and how it's not the same and how Christmas ain't Christmas no more since daddy died or grandma died or what have you, okay? There are those family members that used to be like, yeah, E-Buck, y'all come up here and eat up all the food, you greedy, sucker. Dang. Understand, to some of those family members, wasn't nothing like grandma. Wasn't nothing like grandma. Because if my granny did say that about me, she at least had sense enough not to let me find out about it, say it to my face. And if that was the case, then why she be the same grandma later on be like, yeah, come get some of these leftovers that I put up and would gladly come get them because I promise you on everything I love, my granny's leftovers is better than most of the food y'all will ever put a fork, knife, spatula to, okay? Grandma Rupert McPayne could have had her own restaurant and would have made money here in the D because some of these same places that sell soul food now, they food tastes like basura trash compared to what came out my grandma's kitchen. That's real talk, okay? And I too am a cook, but again, half of what I know to do is because of Granny. And her sister Roberta, for that matter, she could throw down too. Some of my other family members, y'all cooked and everything, but it was food. It was all right. But it ain't nothing to where like, okay, I had to come over there and get it. I appreciate the invitations and all that, but again, the environment wasn't always good for me. The difference is during them times when I wasn't driving and had to be escorted or whatnot, I ain't have much of a choice sometimes but to stay there. But now that I have that choice and I chose not to be around, it's part of why. That might even be most of why. Again, I love y'all. And again, I need y'all to understand. I'm not saying everybody that is family that I'm having this discussion with. Some of y'all know y'all don't fit into what I'm saying. But I will tell you, if this shoe fit, put it the fuck on. That part. Also, speaking since I have this, do y'all see this? This is my house shoe, people. You see that? This is a house shoe. Since I had the platform, allow me to say that some of y'all that are people in my city, in my state, in my ethnicity, y'all wear these as shoes. Not house shoes, as shoes. It is 32 degrees outside, okay? It is still wet It is still snow on the ground. And some of y'all bring y'all monkey ass outside every day with these on as shoes. Some of y'all trifling behinds with no socks. Just these. I got a problem with it. I ain't gonna lie. I think it's a damn shame. And then we'll have the audacity to tell people, okay, can you pull up to the driveway? I can't get in the car. I got these on. Now y'all work in these. Y'all go to the store in these. Y'all go to functions in these. Y'all go to school in these. No shame. None. Zero. Y'all see the hoodie I got on? It be cold as hell outside, okay? Crystal, I seen some of your coats and whatnot. You have some nice outfits you wear outside in the cold while you going walking. Because you recognize it's cold out there. These young folks think it's cool. They just wear a t-shirt and a hoodie and go outside because hell, 9 times out of 10, they're getting a ride wherever they go anyway with they spoiled behinds. And then a few weeks from now, when they start to tell you the number for COVID and the flu and all that is going up, you're going to wonder why. Because y'all trying to be sick. I understand you 17, 18, you feel like I'm impervious to pain. I'm Superman. I don't get sick. I could wear these punk ass shoes as boots. You think it snowed in December? We ain't used to getting this much snow in December. You know January probably getting hit. And some of y'all still gonna wear these outside in the damn snow. One of the greatest pleasures of my life I got this week was when I seen somebody wearing these and a damn belly shirt coming out of school, got to the damn corner and slid and bust their butt. As always, I checked to see if they was all right. And they got up, talking about ouch. When I tell you I hollered, oh, that was so damn funny. Because that's what your dumb ass get wearing these in the wintertime. We from the triple goose down generation. The nanny goats. You know what it is. Yes, the triple fat goose. Real talk, I do not wear a coat or socks in the winter. Well, again, coach, I love you, bruh, but if it fit, wear it. You dumb too. I said it. I said to your face, I don't like it. It's stupid. Boots are made for wintertime activities. Wear the damn boots. If you inside somewhere and you got these on, I can't say as much. But these are not outside wear for the winter, okay? Just like I hate when some of y'all in the summer wear them damn furry boots. Again, it's summertime. What you wearing the damn boots for in the summer? Or them furry ass slippers that I can't stand. Knowing your feet hot and sweaty and musty. Up in them doggone sweat. Oh, did I also mention, coach? Even though you 60 and I can't tell you nothing because you grown. You see this? You see how this shoe do this? There is no arch support in these type of shoes, people. What that means is that as you continue to do this over the course of your next 10, 20 years, and all you wear is shoes like these, more than likely you're going to develop some type of foot issue. And when that happens, don't be mad. Yeah, nobody blame but yourself. All right. Good chatting with you. Nice platform you have here. Have a wonderful evening. Don't forget to reach out for a walk. I'm about to call it a night. God bless you. Okay, hold on, Crystal. Let me take that number down, and then please take that number off there because I don't want everybody calling you for random nonsense afterwards. Give me a second. All right, I just called you. That was me. Okay, let me take that down now. I do not wear that ish, says Coach. Please don't, sir. Wear shoes, sir. That's what shoes is for. All right, I see I done lost some of my audience because I'm starting to sound like Ravens of a madman. So let me please get back to thanking everybody. And then I'll get back to the rave to end it off, okay? Again, I want to thank people like Coach V, for example. Thank you, sir, for what you did to help me get the radio station back on. Ironically enough, cool, I locked you in. Okay, cool. Ironically enough, the station's back off now, sir. Don't need you to do that again, man. It is off for a reason I'm about to talk about in a minute. But anyway, I appreciate you. I am glad that I was able to help you with your vision for the show. I ain't forgot about you. I'm gonna get to you, Israel. I'm definitely gonna get to you, sir. I like to say that the show is something that, as I'm looking back on it now, there's a lot of great that can come from it. I really do feel like we need to make some adjustments to the show that will help the show overall. Main one being is I want to give the people that we interview the space to truly tell their story themselves, because we need to do a better job of that, because some of these people have some awesome, tremendous stories that the audience needs to know and hear about in their journey. And I'm really liking how when people are coming on the show now, they are letting other people know, they are posting it on their Facebook page or whatnot. So that is why you've been getting some of the audiences you've been getting the last few weeks. Of course, at some point that had to be said, okay? You couldn't just wait to put that on there, could you? You couldn't even wait for me to mention it, could you, sir? You done posted it several times on your page. I know you are proud of your guys and what y'all have accomplished. So yes, by all means, shout out to my team, the Midwestern Bulldogs, for winning the 2025 GIAFL Arena Football National Champion by the score of 24-0, sir. Yes, I did check out some of the live broadcasts. And I coached them for the most part by myself. Allow me to add that for you. For the most part, that is very true, sir. But again, I would be remiss not to mention Coach Ethan and the on-field coach, which is the quarterback coach Loon, who also helped. I'm sure you acknowledge that. But for the most part, yes, you did put in a great amount of the work so that in the end, y'all became champions. Y'all won. You did what I asked you to do when I talked to you last, which was make sure you put the belt to butt and whoop that butt good. And that you did. And I'm sure you will talk all about it when we go back on the air in a couple weeks. But again, sir, I want the show to be better. I want us to be better in the show. We got to do that for the sake of the show. Okay? Because in the end, your mission to promote developmental football and women's tackle football is to be very commended, because there are no shows really out here like that. And in that space, you could be great if you choose to be. And I want to help you in that endeavor, and I want us to help each other in that endeavor. Yes. Yes. All right. Also, shout out to Queen Gemini. If you're still in the building, Queen Gemini, and your show Rumble Time. I very much enjoy producing your show with you, my friend. We have a good time talking about wrestling. Yes, I absolutely agree with you that we do need to talk more about what was than what is, because what is right now is a very diluted version of what we grew up knowing to be professional wrestling. And I really want to educate our audience on some of the greats. Yep, she is in the building. That's what's up. I do want us to continue to educate them on the greats that were part of the wrestling profession. And I'm talking about even going back beyond the days of the Ric Flairs and the Hulk Hogan's and the Randy Macho Man Savages of the world. Going to Gorgeous George and all of those guys, Bruno Sammartino and all those wrestlers from even back in that day. I definitely want the audience to know that. The Goldbergs and all of that. Absolutely. So yeah, we will definitely work on that. And there's another project that Queen is going to work on next year as well. I definitely want to help you with that show also, because I think that too will be awesome. Shout out, of course, to Ro. Ro, I kind of want to save you for a little bit later because my words don't even express your thoughtfulness and what you have done not only for my show, that is I Am Nighthawk, but for this network and for my personal self, okay? You are my favorite creative of all time. In that, much like myself, we think of all these great things we want to do in the creative space, and we just don't seem to have enough hours in the day to do them all. I hate that you catch me usually on Tuesday night after we do the show, and I'm tired. I am so tired. But it'd be a lot of great things that we go back and forth with, but I just don't be having the energy to have that discussion. So let me come back to you, but let me mention while I'm thanking everybody. And again, Queen and Coach, thank you. We definitely will talk sometime during the break. Part of why I Am Nighthawk failed me, and I failed it, is because I couldn't put the energy that I put into Get Off My Lawn, because back then, like I said, there was pandemic. I wasn't working. I had time to research and do things and look up stuff and get rest and all of that. I had H2 helping me with some stuff. I don't have all those resources anymore. I don't have that energy anymore because my health has declined since then. So I can't do what I used to do. I want to give you your flowers for the things you have done for me and others. I love you too, bro. F. Will. All right, then. I approve that message. Lost my Christmas spirit this year. Well, Hugh, my brother, I know you're going through some things. And I want to get to you later on in the show as well. If anybody knows what I'm going through in my current life, my friend, it is you. So you and Ro, please allow me to give y'all flowers at the end, please. Can I come on near the end? I'll let you come on at the end, Coach. Let me clear out some of this runway before we do that. I need y'all to understand where I'm at right now in my life, okay? Right now, I'm in a space to where my future is going to be problematic for these next few months. I could lose the house. I could have problems with the government. I could be in a scenario where I lose my job. We've been there before, okay? We've had those problems before. A little different this time. It shouldn't be to a point to where I'm sitting here in the dire need that I found myself a couple years ago. I'm not that. And again, I want to mention that because there are several people in that space I need to thank. I need to thank my BFF. You know who you are. I will not mention you by name, but you know who you are. I still owe you money. I have not spoken to you much because of that, and that's wrong. That's wrong. I'm going to call you tomorrow. I know you understand. You told me not to worry about it and do it when I can. I'm going to do my best to do it when I can, but no, I cannot allow our friendship to deteriorate because of that fact. You understand and you know when push comes to shove, I will be able to pay you back. So yeah, that. To Miss Dixon. Yes, I too owe you money. When I tell you, if not for you, I would not be alive right now. When you did what you did when you did it, you helped bring me back to life. When I tell you, and you contacted me in the hospital, I wasn't doing good. If y'all don't know, and I don't know if I actually discussed this on the air, I found out over the course of the year after they ran other tests and whatnot that I in fact had a heart attack during that time. Very, very, very mild one, mind you. But it was a heart attack, technically. And that if I hadn't went into the hospital the second time, when I did, and would have went to bed as I started to, I wouldn't have woke up that next day. They about 95% sure of that. So when I was there and I wasn't doing good them first few days I was in the hospital, and I talked to you, Miss Dixon, and you let me know, okay, don't worry about that. Just worry about getting better. And you looked out for me. At that time, I thought, okay, once I get better, I'll be able to do this and get you back your money. But as life then went to lifing, I couldn't get it the way I needed to give it to you the way I needed to. And I know it's been times since then that you kind of needed it, and I just didn't have it to give, and I still don't. I really hate that. But we're going to make that happen. I may need to do it in a very piecemeal type of way, but we're going to make that happen. Because I don't want you to ever think that I did not appreciate that. To my classmates, the two of you in particular, that looked out for me at a time where I was not expecting it in ways I wasn't expecting, both through your words and financially, I could never, ever, ever thank you enough. And you did not want me to make that public knowledge who you are, so I will not put your names out here, but you know who you are, and I will make whole of what you have done for me also. Pastor Sean Love, I will always appreciate that you came to my mother's funeral and spent time talking to me. Well, actually to the family hour. That was a conversation I so desperately needed at that time. Even you didn't know how sick I was because I didn't know at that moment. But you brought me comfort and you helped me be able to get through the rest of that period. And for those family members who just thought I was being funny acting that day and didn't know that I was literally damn near dying in the process of all that, because hell, I didn't know I was that bad up. I knew I was sick. I didn't know I was that sick. And y'all just basically thought I was being overly dramatic or was faking the funk or whatnot, who didn't understand why I didn't make it to the repass, and thank God I didn't. Because hell, I probably would have ended up in the hospital that night as opposed to the next day if I had went there. But yeah. I got the paperwork right here if y'all want to know what I was really going through at that moment. But no, it wasn't nothing fake. I was sick. And I ain't been the same since. Mentally or physically, for that matter, unfortunately. Ro, let me address something as I hold on, let me post this. And for Big Q, thank you for everything you gave me. The name for my show. Love you as well, Big Q. Miss Rowe, not Mr. Rowe, Miss Rowe, as I call you, or Mrs. Rowe, thank you for allowing me to speak on your show. It was an honor. I took your words to heart. I know that was a typo about Mr. I understand that. I done lost my train of thought. Sorry, y'all. Anyway, yeah. The problem I have right now, beyond my financial issues, that hopefully I will be able to work out sooner than later, because we all need a little help, and I am getting help for some of that, and we'll invest in some other things to help out that hopefully will fix things. Just wish me good faith and luck on that the next couple weeks. I'm buzzing. Okay. All right. Right now, as we speak, I am going to finish the show And when I finish the show, I will take my medications, the little that I have left at the moment. I've been having trouble getting all my medications because my insurance has lapsed and I am unable to get it reinstated until February 1st, at which time I'll be paying more for insurance than any other bill in my household. And as a result, I have to change certain things that I'm doing in order to make that happen because I need these appointments and medications. Let me get to you after I finish this, sir. I do need to talk to you. Okay, yeah. I take 6 medications. Okay. The combination of those 6 medications equal up to about $1,500 a month every month. That's not counting any appointment I go to the doctor or specialist that I would have to, at this point, pay for out of pocket. Okay. As a result, because of all the help that I tried to get along the way, I was able to at some point. At other points, I wasn't. For the last 90 days, I have not taken my full complement of medications, not one day. 2 of these medications are called Farxiga, which is to help kidney functions, as I do have partial kidney disruption, and Eliquis, which is a blood thinner to help with my AFib. Because right now my heart is only pumping at about 60% capacity, and it also affects my lung functions where, as you see, I'm taking breaks right here because when I talk for long periods of time, eventually I get to where I'm wheezing. I don't know if y'all hear that on the air, but I hear me wheezing, okay? So even though I need to end this sooner than later, I still want to finish my piece before I go. Hopefully by February, I'll have my insurance, then I can get all my medications for cheap or next to nothing. Then at that point, because keep in mind, we live in America where when you can pay certain things, then they'll help you. But when you can't, they can't. So, Israel, let me address you, sir. You are a part of the network in that you are one of the people that has helped to support along the way, and we've met along the way. You are not part of the network in that you are not currently one of the shows that I am airing on the network. You have a platform to where if you choose to do a show, you can and you have. Question 1 I would ask is, why have you not used that platform more? I do understand that when we attempted to do a show for you, we had issues with the whole equipment and all of that. But keep in mind, that was 2-3 years ago. In this day of modern technology, and keep in mind that I sent you the videos on how to do certain things, you didn't need me for that. You don't need me for that. You have other people in the network who you could turn to ask for that help. And I'm sure they would have helped you if you would have asked. But for some reason, you have waited for me to be the person to help you. I would say to you, sir, that I want to see you put forth more effort in helping yourself first. Show me what your platform is. Show me the types of things you want to talk about. Show me, do some sample shows where I see this is what you got going. This is what you want to talk about. This is my unique perspective. Because what I don't want to do for you is to create a platform or a show where you are speaking your truths based on what you know and how you feel. And you end up like I Am Nighthawk, where in the end, people may tune in because it's something different the first couple weeks, but then it's like, I'm not trying to see that dude Israel and what he talking about. He ain't talking about nothing I care about. He ain't talking about nothing that I want to see. And I'm afraid if I leave it to the devices as they currently are, that's exactly what will happen to you, sir. And I don't want that for you. I don't want that for you. I will give you the advice that the great LeBron James once gave to his audience in that famous commercial. I don't want you to be me. I want you to be better than me. And in order to do that, I need you to take that part of your journey and work it out and then come back and have this discussion. Now, I see I have lost a few people in the audience. If it was one of them and what I said hurt, I didn't mean to hurt. I'm just being honest. That's what I see. I want you to have something of substance to come with. And I want you, matter of fact, I will make it my business sometime this week to send you all the tutorials again for you to go through and check out for yourself. Because understand, I got full network now. I ain't like before when I was just doing my show and Hugh's show. I got other people's shows that I do and coordinate every week. And as you see, I have chose for the most part to either just be one of the hosts or to be in the background. And I would prefer it that way. I don't want to do a show and in the end, I end up doing just as much as your show as you eat. If you're going to do a show, I want you to be able to do a show. I want it to be of some substance, and I want to know what you want to talk about, and I will sit here and we will go over and critique it. So once you get all that together, then come talk to me about a show. Now, for you, JoJo, who might be tuning in at some point, on the other hand, you have done all that work. And I highly suggest, Israel, that you go check out JoJo's page and see when he did live shows and what he talked about. That brother has substance. That brother has things to discuss. That brother is entertaining. And because of that, I am going to help him with his show. We have discussed it. And sometime next year, y'all should see JoJo's show, whatever it will be named, on the network. Because we talked about that, and you know I've talked about that with him, Israel, because I've said it to you that I want JoJo to do a show. But again, I want to see you put forth that effort before I agree to do that with you at some point. But JoJo, I will definitely hit you up after the holiday. We will have that discussion, sir. Coach, if you're still there, we're going to bring you on in a minute. A couple other people I need to thank, okay? Thank you to my mama. Thank you, mama, as I sit here looking at your urn, because I know you, to my knowledge, never saw one episode of any of these shows. I talked to you about it. You said, I don't care about what you're doing over there. Just don't tear up my house, you see. But you are the one who gave me the courage to speak my truths this evening and to say what's on my mind. Because in the end, again, life is short. And I don't want people to wonder what I thought about them as I find myself doing with other folks. And I know it's going to be people that when they see this show, because of how people going to deal with it, yeah, so what was you saying, blah, 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 blah. Again, if you was not here in the moment to discuss, I don't choose to discuss it. You saw what you saw, you interpreted the way you interpreted, and that is that. So be it. Again, before I bring Coach on, Coach, let me send you the link. And as a matter of fact, Road, if you choose to come on and have a few words, I should send you the link as well. Because I owe you that much. Now, Road, hold on. Wait a minute. Okay, you said, can I come on? We went through that already. Now, if you buzzing too bad, Coach, don't come on. Because you're going to get this. I don't want you to say the wrong stuff. Okay, I've been keeping my eyes on JoJo's content. He has a unique talent. I agree, Tracy. I absolutely agree. He not only is thoughtful, but he is also entertaining and creative. JoJo Rapper is his TikTok page. Please check it out. He be doing dance and stuff and little skits and words of encouragement. He do a little bit of everything. He has something to bring to the air that I think would be good for people to see. And as far as anybody else in this space that would like to do a podcast, as I said, this is Podcast Network, and I am willing to help anyone who is willing to help themselves in the space. I'm not going to come on. Okay, that's cool, bro. I'm not requiring that of you. I just wanted to put that out there if you wanted to. While I'm speaking of Road, let me say, Road, again, I love you dearly, my friend. You have been the epitome of what it means to support somebody in all seasons. Through everything I was going through it all. You have seen it all, because every time when I turn on this screen, and whether it's I Am Nighthawk or Sports Session or What Up Doing the D, whatever show I have done over the years, you have been there to see them all. If there was such thing as a Nighthawk Network historian, you could be it. Because I can't even remember an episode where, if you haven't watched it live, you have at least checked it out later on after the fact. Not only that, you, from what I see, look at all the shows, from Big Meech to Coach B to Hugh to Pastor Sean, Dr. Marla, all of it. You have seen them all. And for that, I thank you. I thank you, because you did not have to take time out of your day to do any of that. I thank you for the work you have done for the radio station. Unfortunately, Road, the radio station is not on right now due to financial considerations. The long story short of it, my friend, is I am in the middle of the problem that many of my fellow Americans are about to have. And I do want to address that before I leave the air tonight. To those of you in my network who are true supporters of the man whose name I vowed not to say on the air, but at this moment I shall. If you are supporters of Donald John Trump, if he is your president, if you voted for him, if you agree with every policy and thing he has done, by all means, when we are done here, please be done with me. Please go to your Facebook or your Instagram and unfollow me. If that is in your heart and he is truly your guy, we can no longer be in the same space together here. I can no longer approve that message and not say something about it. That man is not good for America. Mr. President, I feel like you are doing a horrible job. And I understand in this day where freedom of speech ain't quite as free as it once was, and I might risk ICE coming to my door. And think about it, y'all. When have we ever been in a space where they are actually hiring for ICE on TV? Commercials. Do you want to be a member of ICE? Please contact the government at such and such and such. Did you ever thought we would see a day where we would see that? Did you ever thought we would see a day when the president would come on television and say about someone who has been deceased, someone who was killed, that he really didn't care for them and they were a horrible person and whatnot, as opposed to just saying, I'm sorry for their loss and being the consoler in chief? Yeah, I wasn't all that gung-ho about President Biden either, truthfully. But at least when it came to being cordial and in times of comfort, he knew the assignment and dealt with it correctly. Oh, man, please tell me you didn't do that, Coach. Man, come on, man. That is not why I had that discussion on air. I'll talk to you about it. Okay, I hate I need to watch live TV more often. See, again, my brother, if you're going to have a discussion about stuff like that, as you have in the past on the show, you got to know what we're talking about. That's part of what I Am Nighthawk was for, was to educate the public on what the hell's really going on. Let me tell you, right now, I'm in a bad space, and part of that is because of the actions of the president and the people he has appointed or are in cohesion with in the government. In other words, the Republican Party on the legislative side. Because right now, as of today, I don't have insurance. And it makes no sense for me to even sign up for Obamacare when in the end, I'm going to end up paying the full price for my insurance because those subsidies are going to not be valid after next week. The cheapest insurance that covers what I need to cover right now currently that I have found runs some $600 to $650 for the month, okay? And the reason why I'm going to end up paying that is because it's still cheaper than trying to pay for all these medications I'm taking right now that run some $1,600 a month. Not to mention the fact that we're supposed to have a discussion about me taking the weight loss drug, whether it be Zepbound or the other one. You know it's starting to be that time of night. If you're here, please put the other one on there. You know what I'm talking about. That costs even more than the medicines I got now. So I got to get the insurance just to even possibly get them for the reduced prices or whatever it's going to be. Now, the president say, yeah, we're going to do this and this, and I got a health plan. I'm still waiting. It's been 12 years. I ain't seen no damn Republican health plan worth a damn. He is a terrible president. I can't condone his mess. I can't either. Nor can I quietly sit back and not say anything about it anymore. I can't, Tracy. I can't. Mr. T is dismantling America. See, even you don't want to speak his name. For years, I referred to him as the leader and DT or Orange Clown or whatever. Because in order to get that type of respect that I say your name, do something respectful that I can respect. Are you doing a better job as president than the past president? No. The only thing that's different is that, yeah, you are showing that you're putting in the work, because even though fake news, you still bring your fake ass on there every day and talk to them. You can't stand CNN and all of that, but every day your monkey ass will come into a press conference to spew that nonsense that you often talk about. You say some of the most horrible things about people during these press conferences. You've made it so that one of your staunchest supporters, one of the leading Trumponians, young Marjorie Taylor Greene, is to the point to where she don't even want to be bothered no more and has quit the House of Representatives. This was the person that used to wear your gear like you was damn Tom Brady or somebody. But now you can't even speak kindly on her when she ain't do nothing but have your back. You disloyal. And behind the scenes, these same people who kiss your buttocks in public, she'll probably have some of the foulest things to say about you behind your back. Because that's the type of person you are in their front. I fear for my life every day because I don't know what you may do next. Even now, as I'm sitting here having this discussion, I know there's only so much I should say, because who knows what might happen if the wrong person see this and the channels and boom. I can't believe that some of you fools voted for that man and he turned around and fired you. You lost your cushy government job just like that. I can't believe some of y'all fools felt like, well, he's not talking about me. He's talking about Hector and them. And then you turn around and he arresting you and trying to put you out the country. This man came on my television set and called Somalians trash and horrible people. He has spoken countless hateful things about all types of folks. Okay? If you are a person, I'm going to check it, coach. All right, stand by. Stop, phone. Now I managed to do this whole show and not shed no tears, coach. You ain't helping right now, bro. Thank you, man. Thank you, okay? Let me say that. Thank you. I don't have those discussions for that to happen. But at times on the show, it has happened. And for those people like Josh, people like I said, Pastor Love, and you took it on your heart to look out for me in my troubled times, those things will never be forgotten by me. Trust and believe that. But okay, back to my rant. Even Candace has changed her tone. Candace Owens, another staunch Trump supporter, okay? It's crazy how when Charlie Kirk died, he was an American patriot and this and this and that and that. But now that Ryder died and you did not agree with his politics, he was all type of evil. What you did or tried to do to Jimmy Kimmel and Seth Meyers and them is terrible. What president can't take a joke, can't take criticism about himself? Every president got talked about since the days of the Tonight Show, from Nixon on down. But you, no, not you. They can't say nothing bad about you. If they do, then they're wrong. They're not real Americans. They're evil. Anybody speak wrong about you. Your name is DT, the president, not DT King, not DT Emperor. You are not Putin, sir. You are not Kim Jong-un. This is America. You were voted in. And I don't know if I'm more mad at you for the bullshit you've been doing this past year, or if I'm mad at the people that voted you in when we told y'all what would happen. And it's happening and it's worse. Or most importantly, the people that chose not to vote at all and just said, oh, well, my vote don't count anyway. You see now why it does? This is why it counts. Because now you're sitting there with no job, insurance about to be gone. They're trying to get rid of your EBT card. They don't want you to do this, this, and this. It's going to be harder for you to get a damn good job because DEI, so on and so forth. Are you happy now? Are you proud of yourself? He's still your guy. I love some of y'all, but I know if I'm saying I want you to be done with me, I'm going to lose people I care about in the network. People whose space I'm going to miss, people who I'm not going to be able to see because you take me on my word and will get rid of yourself on my page. But if that's what it's got to be right now for my own mental health, I need that to go on. So if you are down with DT for show, no matter what he does, please get gone. Like Martin said, get to stepping. Because I can't do it no damn more. No damn more. I had to put up with it because right now, ain't nothing that can be done. But again, the midterms are coming this year. Your House of Representatives and Senators are coming up. If they do not currently do what you need them to do, get them out. And remember, I'm an independent, so I'm talking about whether it be Democrat or Republican. If they are not doing what you need them to do, use your vote wisely and get them the hell gone. I seen on a Facebook reel, it revealed Kamala actually won, not MT. Again, do your proper research, sir. In this day and age of AI, you may see some of anything. Like it or not, she did not win. I do believe, however, everybody, instead of just 46% of America, would have actually voted. Hell, even if we would have got the 64% of people that voted in 2020 to vote, she probably would have won over him. But again, I've had people tell me point blank, I couldn't vote for her because it was her. I couldn't vote for her because she was a female, and I don't feel female should be president. I have people say she ain't really black. That's why I ain't vote for her because she wasn't black. I have people vote for her because I can't vote for her because she is black. I've heard all these opinions, live and direct. And some of these opinions were by people that look like me. And had the bold-faced audacity to tell me, yeah, I voted for him because I couldn't vote for her. And he gonna get me money. Where that money at? Huh? Yeah, eggs don't cost $6, $7 no more. But hell, they still cost too damn much. The damn meat costs too damn much. The damn milk costs too damn much. I'm supposed to be eating healthy and whatnot. Damn apples cost $1. What the hell? Tell me what I'm supposed to do with this if I don't approve the message and it's not benefiting me. Say what you will about the previous president. Some of the stuff that he was trying to enact benefited me more than any of this mess is now. We almost begged people to vote, and look what we are dealing with. Yes, we did, Tracy. Yes, we did. No, look at how knee-deep and ish we are in today. That part there. All right, y'all. We are 3 hours in. This is the longest I Am Nighthawk episode I have ever done. I have not completely thanked everybody that I wanted to. I apologize. I do think I got to most of the people that I needed to thank, though. If I didn't, I apologize. Oh, let me again. Bro, love you. Thank you for your continuous support throughout all things. I will try to set up a time in future weeks where we can sit down as collectives and have our discussions. Because I love when we do so. As long as I got my thank you. Don't be selfish like that, coach. That ain't in your spirit to really be that. You're actually a very good dude, okay? Sometimes you take me there. Sometimes I take you there. But when all is said and done, we good. But yeah, I want to finish up this show by thanking and actually giving some words of encouragement to my brother Hugh Lee, my podcast partner, who I've done more shows with than anybody else on the network. Hugh, much like myself, you are going through some troubled times. Again, your story is not my story to tell. Okay? Behind the scenes, I know what it is and you do. You are in my constant prayers. Okay? I don't say to you every day, okay, you're in my prayers, because sometimes you want to hear more than just that. I want to have more to say to you than just that. Sometimes, yeah, God know these things, but in the same token, that don't help me right now. That don't help how I feel right now. That don't help my situation right now. Yes, it is, coach, but understand, bro, this is the last one. Not doing no more after this, okay? And if you have in mind to do a show this long, it ain't happening. Yeah, Hugh, I wish I could wave a magic wand and say, boom, we good now. All is right with the world. I wish that tomorrow when I do invest my $2 or $3 in the Michigan Powerball, that's currently at $1.6 billion, that I am that big winner. And with that, I can show love to the world like never before. If you think I've done some kind things in the past, if I was to be so blessed, to be that winner, the things I would do for my people. None of y'all would have to worry about nothing. I would retire each one of y'all with that money and still make sure I'm good. Because understand, if you win $1.6 billion, understand that you don't really win $1.6 billion. You only win like $780 billion before taxes. Depending on if you live in a state that taxes or not, you get about $480 after taxes. If you have $480 million, you should never be broke the rest of your life. If you somehow manage to spend $480 million and end up with nothing, I don't know what to tell you. Me, myself, if I did that, I could not live with myself. And unfortunately, there are several people who have actually done that type of damage with their lottery winnings and then came to that unfortunate conclusion. I don't want that for if whoever that is, because I do believe dimes to donuts that sometime this week that the winner of the jackpot will happen, as it tends to do every year about this time of year, if you notice, that person or persons will be having the best Christmas or New Year's of all time, okay? If I can't have that for me, I wish that for somebody out here in my audience, if you are so inclined. And again, if you choose in your heart to look out for me, because keep in mind, even some of those people that I've alienated with my comments today, if I get blessed like that, I'm going to look out for them. I'm going to look out for my blood, my family. It would not be right if I didn't, and I had that type of money. I'm not about to spend all my money on them, especially when I know in the end they probably wouldn't do exactly the same for me. But for my own conscience sake, I got to give them a little something. And, we had that discussion on the show, what I would do with the money. Don't need to go that deep into it. But, yeah, I don't have that, Hugh, but I will always do, my brother, what I can do for you, my man. And all I can do right now is give you the peace of mind and knowing that your situation will resolve itself. Sometime next year, we will know what we need to know about all of that. And from that point on, you can start to live the rest of your life. I hate that is on your mental to the degree it is, but I do completely understand why. Please do not think I don't get it. But I'm also going through my share of things on this end. That's why I'm not always in everyday, all-day contact with you. But I'm with you. I'm always just a phone call away. And unlike other people that may have this number, you one of the 4 or 5 people that can call me whenever. And for those of you who don't know who you is, you know who you is. You can call me whenever. Y'all 5 or 6. Maybe 7. But anybody else, you can call my phone. Anyway, thank you for the opportunity to let me air it all out for y'all. Again, I didn't air it all out, but I aired out a nice little bit. I feel good about it. For those of y'all who basically just going to tune in to the part you thought pertained to you, watch the whole 3 hours, 17 minutes. I dare you. And then come to me. Outside that, I don't need to hear from you. To my peoples, I love y'all. Have a great holiday. Have a wonderful rest of your week. Be blessed. Be safe. Be thankful. Appreciate all the little things in your life. If I taught you or learned you anything from this show, I appreciate it. I learned things from y'all as well. For this, my final episode, I am now signing off, taking my medicine and taking my butt to bed. We will be back on the air first week of January on a Tuesday. Rumble time. See you feet in and see all y'all in, Lord willing. Pray for me and my family and the people in my network, and I will pray for y'all as well. Thank you for all who tuned in and checked in. I appreciate you. Good, bad, or otherwise. That is that. This is the end of the show and the end of the show. In other spaces and other places, I will see y'all when I see y'all. One last time, baby. Deuces.